Mic check.
Check.
13 herbs and spices.
Hold on here. Gotta get to the top here.
Doc, remember to bring up the control pad. This moment of dead air brought to you by Digiland Android devices. This is how long they take to boot up. Hello there. Welcome. It's April 28th, 2017. It's a Friday, and welcome to Doc Has Too Many Things to Do. I'm here with my co-host, David Prowse.
Hello, I'm David Prowse. Today we'll be discussing 10 reasons why you should not let your children date till they're 57.
It's not David Prowse. That's Jason. Oh. Jason Allen.
That's me. I am so curmudgeoned up this morning. It is scary.
It's okay.
Because as I've gotten older, I've had to give up literally every good thing in life. I'm now down to breathing.
Before we start, right. Do you even know who David Prowse is?
David Prowse.
David Prowse. That name ring a bell?
Not really. I know Marcel Proust. Proust.
Oh.
I know that.
Proust. Juliette Proust.
Juliette Proust.
You remember? She was a dancer, right?
Yeah.
Julie Proust.
Wasn't there someone also connected with Star Wars?
That's it. That's it. That's
there
the
you
one.
Go. There we go.
The
guy who dressed up as Darth Vader, right?
That's correct.
The very tall dude.
Yes.
That
was David Prowse.
Can I at least get a half a point? And I think I should get. I think.
You see what I did there?
I think I should get 7/8 of a point for actually saying in a live streaming video Marcel Proust.
Yeah.
How many think dropping that?
That's pretty good
on a Friday morning.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to use this time, this show to play around with the camera shot. My camera shot.
It's Friday.
Not right now. I got time.
Yeah, we got time. All the time in the world. Yeah.
What's that from? We've got all the time in the world, Jason.
I have no idea.
Oh, it's another iconic.
I'm dropping pop culture reference. I have no idea where it's from. It's something I picked up somewhere.
It's another iconic, and the tie-in to Star Wars.
In the world.
The tie-in to Star Wars is Star Wars was filmed on the same sound stages as this other well-known action franchise.
England, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What other big kind of movie?
Was it Pinewood Studio?
I think it was Shepperton and then Pinewood. I can't remember.
Yeah, okay.
What other big franchise can you think of? Probably the longest running even longer than Star Wars.
Wow. Well, Star Trek?
No. That's not England. We want a little hint.
Well, we want to go English.
Want a little hint?
Doctor Who.
Da 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 da.
What?
Da 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 da.
Bond.
Da 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 da. That's right. That was James Bond.
James Bond.
At the end of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Spoiler alert.
Good movie.
When James Bond's he just married.
Okay.
He just got married.
Betrothed?
This was, and by the way, if you're a Bond fan, like I am, and also have read some of the books, along with, they're short read.
Ian Fleming, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like War and Peace here.
Well, I wish that people would write more books about the man Ian Fleming. He actually did some intelligence work, right?
That's where he got his ideas.
Right, yeah. Interesting dude.
So at the end, spoiler alert, at the end of On Her Majesty's...
Their Majesty's Secret Service.
No, we're not going to go there. End of Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
There's happenstance, and the newly betrothed Mrs. Bond meets her demise. And the famous line in the end is...
We got all
a teary-eyed Bond. In all of James Bond, you never see him cry.
Yeah.
Except in the end, where he's left the Secret Service. And he's going off to happiness, but you can't pull him in. That's not from that movie.
Despondent and broken.
And he says,
yes,
we have all the time in the world. I believe there was actually a song or something, even something like that, if I remember. But... That by the way, the movie On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is unique in that it stars George Lazenby, an Australian, the one off Bond where people are like, wait, Connery?
Bond for a moment. In between Roger Moore.
The other dude, little Timothy Dalton, he did a couple.
Timothy.
But anyway.
My cricky, I'm James Bond.
But George Lazenby was the new Bond to replace Connery. It was a one-off. It just didn't work.
Well, how can you follow Connery?
But the film itself... is despite the fact that it's one-off actor, Lazenby played him only once, is considered it's a very good film, and B, it is the most out of all the James Bond movies that you will watch, every single one. It is the only one that follows the book. They made some changes, but like most of them at some point,
pretty faithful.
Yeah, most of them, some of them were like, we'll take this character and that, and then we're just gonna write the script and the story and forget about whatever that Ian Fleming one.
George, stick to the script.
Yeah, George. Yeah. Well, because little known fact that if you make a movie, you're making a movie, not a book, and sometimes
creative license.
Yeah, you have to make a good movie. But anyway, so On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Thunderball maybe because it was written in conjunction with the script, and that was a whole thing. But we really don't need on a Friday to go down the Doc Normal rat hole of James Bond. But I tell you, it's
a fun rat hole to go down to. My favorite James Bond film out of all of them, the whole line.
Yeah,
I got to do it. Yeah. From Russia with Love.
Oh yeah, baby. Well, mine. That's probably in the up there, right. Like actually, I arguably would say that's my favorite too.
Yeah.
There's others though that I like. What was the first one? This is a great question.
Okay.
Of course, I'm asking it.
Peter Sellers, right?
Anyway, what was the first James Bond, and I would assume you were a young
shaver,
right?
Yes.
The very first James Bond movie that you walked into the theater and saw. So it would have been a first. It would have been a first run, right? It would have been like out, and you were like, "Hey, I want to go see that new James Bond movie." I'm old enough, and I got the popcorn and everything. Not TV.
Yeah.
Not movie of the week.
Yeah.
First one you saw in the theater.
Okay. First one I saw in theater was me and the Buddha. Richard Butte. I think he snuck me in, and we saw Octopussy. I think that was the first Bond one I'd ever seen. I remember watching on early video. We're talking Betamax days. Was it the Spy Who Loved Me? Maybe the one with Carly Simon.
That's the Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah, that could.
This is so bad. See, going down this rat hole with me is I'm somewhat of a walking Bond Wikipedia.
Yes,
just by
he's a thoroughly Bondian.
Well, I had a friend in junior high, middle school, for those people. And he was a big Bond fan, and so he was like a real Bond nerd. Mm-hmm. And I like the Bond stuff anyway, but he got me into like, oh, you should read those books. And it's like, oh, guess what? We have Grandpa's old paperbacks here. Yeah, maybe I'll read the Bond books. Sure, I'm in between Asimov or whatever. And so I did that, and I liked the movies. And like last year or whatever, they have the mega, and now it's not the DVD, it's the Blu-rays, right?
Sure.
So I was lucky enough as a Christmas birthday, which all gets smashed together in my life, the box. Films on Blu-ray. And then I've had like companion books written about the making of the Bond movies and all that. And then Wikipedia. So I can tell you, Octopussy, I can tell you that was Louis Jourdan and the weird monkey, remember? The weird stuff that they ate. And Maud Adams is Octopussy. And that was the second time she appeared. She's one of the only women who's appeared in 2 Bond films. And I can't remember what the other one was.
Okay, yeah.
We'll look that up. Now, if I'm totally wrong, then it's going to be like, well, yeah, you're really an expert, doc.
Yeah.
But no, that's.
That's interesting because I was turned on to the Ian Fleming books, and then it led, like, hey, if you like the Ian Fleming books, why don't you check out Alistair MacLean? Okay, I'll check it out. Alistair MacLean.
Alistair MacLean.
Totally blew it. You did Ice Station Zebra.
Oh, okay.
A lot of like Cloak and Dagger, British Secret Service stuff. And love that stuff. And of course, when you're a kid, James Bond and all those cool gadgets, his phone turns into this is pre MacGyver, right? This guy is like, he's pulling out like screw the Swiss Army knife. I can make my shoe turn into a satellite phone. Bing, and there you go.
So check it out. Maud Adams was in 2 Bond films.
Maud Adams. Okay.
So she was Octopussy. Right? Or whatever. I mean, what a
Can't
title.
say that nowadays without it. That's a porn name, dude. No.
Well, they kind of, I remember, because I rewatched them like over the holidays or whatever. I did the marathon because of the thing, and then I'd read about, somebody stubbed their toe on the set or whatever. Roger Moore had a hangnail through the whole thing. I don't know. But I was watching these, and she kind of like, they kind of have an alliance, and they kind of have a thing. Her and Roger Moore kind of have some chemistry. But what was the other movie she was in? A Bond movie. And that's what's weird, because if you watch a marathon them, it's like, hey, wait a minute.
I don't know.
She was in The Man with the Golden Gun.
Oh,
she was Christopher Lee's who was the Man with the Golden Gun, Scaramanga. It was really, that movie is so kind of tight because there's a few people in the end, but it's basically Roger Moore. It's an island.
Yeah,
he lives on an island. Roger Moore, Maud Adams in a bikini, right? Because that's what we do in Bond movies.
That's what we do.
And Christopher Lee, and Tattoo from Fantasy Island.
That's right, Hervé Villechaize.
Hervé Villechaize. And that's pretty much it. She's 72 years old. Maud Adams. She's Swedish. There's a picture of her in 2008. Maybe Doc, I could share this Wikipedia page with the rest of you.
Yeah.
So that's her in 2008. Gotcha. So I mean, what, 60 something?
Yeah. Here's you, Maud.
Typical dudes.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But I digress.
Yeah. So see, that's the problem. you never want to bring up. So the thing is we don't want to bring up Bond.
Yeah.
On the show.
Yeah.
Because then that'll be our 2 hours.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
Doc will go down.
When you bring in something culturally, like, you just can't put it down and walk away, right? You got to talk about the backstory. You got to talk about the moments that intersect with your life with it, and all the other intricate little. Whatever.
It's James Bond is the longest running, most successful series in major motion pictures.
Yep.
I mean, these are multi-million dollar films.
Right.
I mean, and there were 60 years, right? Yeah. 1962 was Dr. No. And Russia with Love, which is the one you talked about, is the second one.
Right. We won't even bring in Casino Royale. That was kind of
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That would, well, that's the Woody Allen, David Niven, which is actually kind of a
Peter
funny,
Sellers, right?
Yeah, it's a kind of a funny movie. It's actually it's an interesting movie.
Yeah.
In this book I have about James Bond, they even go off into that movie and who made it and why it. I watched it recently as well as I was doing all the Bond. It was like, hey, I haven't seen Casino Royale in a while. It's like, neither have I. And it's like up there on Netflix or whatever. I mean, it's pretty easy to get. And it's pretty funny. Robert Wagner and a young Robert Wagner is in it. I mean, it's an all-star cast from the 60s. And this gal, this Italian lady, this always happens in the 60s movies. There's a couple things. If it's an American movie in the 60s, what is it, Jason? Let me tell you what it is.
All right.
It's teenagers on a beach. I always break it down.
We're talking like Annette Funicello.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Going down to the beach, gonna have some fun. I'm composing here right now. Right now. This is my next new song.
Just riff it.
So you'll be hearing this in the next opening for NuzBox. But there's that.
Yeah.
Or it's International Spy, like Casino Royale, sexy. They're in a chalet somewhere. It's that whole formula.
Yeah.
And then some Italian singer gal who's really like good looking. Like we're talking like today, like the Beyonce, J-Lo kind of international star, and comes out and sings like something French or whatever. I don't know.
Ooh, that sounds like Sade.
Yeah. Why did Sade never do a? She would have been okay. That's someone who never did a James Bond theme.
No, she would have been good.
Like back in the day in the 80s. But they had Duran Duran, right?
Yeah.
View to a Kill.
View to
the Kill.
But Sade, like smooth operator,
man, I know, right? Sade would have been perfect for a James Bond opening.
Kind of like something you hear on the Riviera. You're walking on the beach. Maybe you were just hanging out in Monaco, right? Yeah. And you hear those. Ooh, there's Sade.
Have you? I mean, I think she didn't come around here, but she's still touring.
Sade.
Oh yeah, she's touring. She's jazzy, which is always good in your career. Yeah. And she was always kind of that '80s. Pop jazz, which is what I like because I like jazz. So I was like, I'm digging this Sade, smooth up. Yeah, bring it on, baby.
I put her down, and when I listen to her, man, she is like the cool, hip, really fun, more pop-ized Al Jarreau. Mm-hmm. Like when we're in this love together, we're gonna last forever. That phase, right?
May Al rest in peace. He just recently passed away last month, I believe.
Right, yeah. But she was kind of like that. But she was more popish, right? She could appeal to that, but she still had that. She still had that kind of jazzy sort of underlayer,
right?
And
I couldn't even spell her name. It's
Sadie.
It's Sade. For you Americans. Sade. 13 herbs and spices.
Hey, do you have that new record by that Sade? Oh, you mean Sade?
Oh yeah. This you want to talk about health and health conscious and all that?
Yeah.
That would be Sade. I think.
Oh, wow.
I think this might be a year to 54 years old.
Man, looking good.
And there you go.
Holding up
healthy.
well.
No, I think she's like kind of like, the health and all that stuff. And,
Yeah.
Besides, come on. The new 54 is the new 34.
Can we bring up the picture of Sade here in a second? I'm going to cue you. Do a picture of me right now.
Okay. Wait.
Do you want your significant other to be this?
Wait.
Or
this? This, I don't know. These are just pictures of her.
Shot it, yeah.
Yeah. I will have to have a meeting anyway. Oh, there's another picture. But yeah, just I can't remember where she was from. But anyway. So that was Sade. Did not do a Bond picture song.
She would have perfect. She's only 54. Else. She could still do a Bond. Right. I mean, I could imagine Daniel Craig, he's getting out of his sleek Italian sports car. He's adjusting his bow tie because he's not ready to go into a very swank sort of nightclub / casino.
It's always casino,
right? And you hear Sade in the background, and she's doing it. Yeah.
Dude, no need to ask. Oh, God. He's a smooth operator.
Little bossa nova in the background.
Vodka team. Chicken, not stirred. Yeah, so we beat that to death. The first one I saw in the theater was The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yes.
That was my first theater experience.
Yes.
And that was... Boy, that was a good time. That was like, I want to say 1977, I think.
You had all those cool movies that came out.
Star Wars, the original Star Wars.
Close Encounter.
The James Bond, The Spy Who Loved Me, which they had like
Jaws ones too, right? 78.
That was Jaws' first. Richard Keel. Yeah. That was the first his first appearance, and that movie. The Spy Who Loved Me, I mean, I think there was like, I can't remember the movie that came before it. I think there was a couple years in between. Mm-hmm. And then they came back and did The Spy Who Loved Me, and they had Tom Jones and Shirley Bassey and all that. And then it was Carly Simon. Nobody does it better. Yeah. And honestly, in 77, that sound,
yep.
I mean, they could have got Fleetwood Mac. I mean, it's kind of like, you're kind of like right in there, right?
Yeah.
So that was a huge hit. Yeah. Like you turn on the radio, you never turn. It'd be like, there it is. Nobody does it better.
Yeah.
Right? And so there it is. So that's your James Bond.
Was Moonraker before or after?
That was after. That was the follow up.
That's right. And then Moonraker. Then
and it's good. See, I remember those movies as being kind of goofy.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched them, and they are still goofy, but they're really actually more entertaining than I even remember.
Yeah.
And Moonraker. You have Jaws, which is the giant henchman guy who appears for the first time in The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah.
And then he reappears in the Moonraker.
Right.
And then they're in space with space shuttle. It's just crazy. And there's a side plot that he has a love interest.
Mm-hmm.
He falls in love.
Bond.
Yeah. No, not Bond.
No.
Jaws.
Jaws falls in love.
Yes.
See, it's been decades since I've seen those movies.
Oh God, it's not From Russia with Love, but
no.
We should say that is another tie-in. Mm-hmm. We should say From Russia with Love. Now, did we get Sheriff Buford? What's his name in From Russia with Love, or was that later in Live and Let Die? So there was a Southern... Did we talk about this? There was a Southern sheriff who appeared in some of the American sequences. I think he was in Live and Let Die. We have to look. And he was like, Sheriff Buford. Remember him?
Yeah.
Hey, boy, you're from England. And at one point, Bond's like racing boats in the Florida Everglades and screwing up his town.
Yeah.
That actor just recently passed away. He was from Portland. He lived in Clackamas County.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's stall for time with your jazz hands.
Yeah. And Spirit fingers. Jazz. Ooh, jazz hands. Spirit fingers.
I want to say
Spirit fingers. Jazz hands.
I think it was Sheriff Buford, but that was like Boss Hogg, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's around that time.
James Bond.
You had the Boss Hogg. You had the Buford T. Justice, of course, from the Smokey and the Bandit. Jackie Gleason.
Here he is.
Boy, there is no way that you come from my loins. That's my Buford T. Justice right there.
Okay, so Buford D. Okay, and this is the great thing about Google because you can screw up. Because Buford T. Justice was Jackie Gleason in Smokey and the Bandit, right?
Yes.
Well, you can type Buford T. Justice and James Bond and get this actor because so many people
associate with him.
Well, it's that southern thing, right? Mm-hmm. And it's almost the same thing, actually, if you look at the photographs. J.W. Pepper. Here he is. Here he is, right here.
Yeah.
Him. It's this guy, and and there he is. He played a character, J.W. Pepper. And at one time, he's Bond's messing up the Everglades with his antics. I think that's in Live and Let Die. And then he's in the other movie. He's on vacation. He's doing something. I got to look it all up. Is it Man with the Golden Gun? I think it's Man with the Golden Gun because they do the crazy jump. And so he's off somewhere, and the sheriff is on vacation with his wife, and is that limey boy? Oh no, my nemesis.
When you come into my county, you got to respect the rules.
Yeah, no, it was like, but he's on vacation, and then his wife, J.W. Pepper. I just gotta look it up because I'm trying to figure out.
Great name.
Was a fictional parish sheriff in Louisiana, United States, portrayed by American actor Clifton James, from Portland. A Portlander.
Nice.
He was in Live and Let Die, and then the follow-up, The Man with the Golden Gun.
There you go.
And so Clifton James, April 15th, he passed away. And and I believe he was from Portland, and then came back here.
Yeah. Wow.
There's an article about him in The Guardian, of course, because he was in a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
But he was 96 years old.
Nice. There's some longevity for him.
I'm just trying to see. Sir Roger Moore tweeted, terribly sad to hear Clifton James has left us. Roger Moore is still out there. He was born in Spokane, Washington, 1920. Yes. Gladstone.
You lived in Gladstone.
He lived in Gladstone. The family lost all its money at the start of the Great Depression. Spokane. Yeah. Moved to Gladstone, just outside Portland, Oregon.
Excellent.
Not too far from here. He received 2 Purple Hearts, a Bronze Star, and a Silver Star in the U.S. Army in the South Pacific.
Holy cow. How did I go through life living literally a mile or two away from what's now turning out to be a national treasure? Yeah. Holy cow! This guy was in Bond.
Practically your neighbor, dude.
Yeah.
He went to took night classes at the University of Oregon and started acting in plays after the war.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think we brought him. Did we talk about him? I wanted to bring him up because I had heard, and I was like, oh my gosh.
No, I think this is the first ever.
That's Clifton James.
Yeah.
96 years old, local.
Wow.
Guy who appeared, character actor, who appeared in.
Wow.
I have to say, you, in the context of time, when you watch these films, and you watch Clifton doing J.W. Pepper, he does have some euphemisms from the 60s and 70s that would not fly in a 2017 script.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
He does have a tendency to call everybody boy.
Yeah. Yeah, that would not go over too well.
No. I mean, there are a few things you're like, ooh, yeah, that wouldn't make it in the movie today.
Yeah. Boy.
Yeah, boy. I mean, he calls Bond boy, but he calls other people boy, too. Yeah, so we don't, But anyway, so that's Clifton. So how the hell are you?
Good, great. I was thinking of, when we were talking about him, I was thinking of like the whole archetype of the Southern man of power almost, right? Because to me, it was like, what does it go back? Foghorn Leghorn? No, to me it goes back even further than that. I'm like, oh, cool. Do you remember on the old Fred Allen show when he would do Allen's Alley and he'd walk down there, Senator... whatever, and I say boy,
Wow, no.
And I
do not know this.
And I was like, man, that's kind of like an offshoot of what you hear about, Foghorn Leghorn, which actually was the voice, the little character was kind of based on the Allen's Alley guy. And then you go forward more than that, and you got this guy on the Bond films. Then, of course, Buford T. Justice is this guy personified, throwing some boss hog, which is sort of that man of power, the Southern, hey, boy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's funny that when you can Google that. Yeah. Buford, because we know the name Buford from the Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah. Jackie Gleason.
Yeah.
And it's basically, and Cliff, I mean, this character in James Bond, this was early 70s, and then Smokey and the Bandit, I want to say, is mid 70s, so it kind of predated that. So it's kind of that archetype that they.
Yeah, the Southern man of power,
Well, it's a sheriff.
Yeah.
It's a sheriff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
say boy.
Yeah. Well, you've been driving a little fast, I think.
Do you know how fast you were going? Let me tell you.
Now, all this James Wan talk, and then it comes up to Smokey and the Bandit. I haven't seen Smokey and the Bandit in many, many years. Now I want to go watch Smokey and the Bandit.
Right, yeah, it's great. Smokey and the Bandit 1, Smokey and the Bandit 2. I refuse to watch Smokey and the Bandit 3, which had no Burt Reynolds in it at all. It's just and I don't mind the Snowman. I don't mind that. But I'm more of a bandit sort of guy.
Was Gleason in all of them?
Jackie Gleason was a number 3. Yeah. They brought pretty much everyone except Sally Fields and Burt Reynolds. Yeah. And
that's kind of like the iconic. They kind of had the 70s. You remember like action drama, Steve McQueen and Ally McGraw?
Oh yeah.
And then it was and then it was kind of like action comedy, and it was Burt Reynolds and Sally Fields. It was like, do we have anyone? I mean, I guess today people are just like, who cares, right? It's like,
no, I would say the probably last one. Ooh, who was the last the devil may care American anti-hero kind of like racing around? Was it Fast and Furious maybe?
Well, yeah.
Maybe something like that.
But that it was like the 70s. It was always a couple, right? It was like, and then I'm driving, and the guy, and
yeah, are you buckled in? Next thing you know, they're flying off a cliff.
Yeah, and doing something great. Maybe you could argue Ridley Scott totally changed the whole thing with what's the movie with I'm totally losing it. They drive off. No spoilers.
Fast and Furious? Is that what you know?
No. It's a Ridley Scott movie. It's about the two ladies who go on a crime spree.
Thelma and Louise.
Thelma and Louise. Thank you.
They hold their hands as they go.
This is why you're here.
Yeah. Thelma and Louise.
Help me out. That brain cell cannot access. Thelma and Louise, right?
Yes.
That's a buddy.
Gina Davis, Susan Sarandon. Yeah.
Gina Davis. Yes.
The road
Susan
movie, right?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
And that is a crime spree, Fast and Furious kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's two ladies.
Two ladies. Yeah.
And that was Ridley Scott, actually.
Yeah.
If you can believe it.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he always has like strong women characters in his movie. I mean, Ripley from Aliens. Come on.
Yeah.
Ripley from the Aliens.
Have you seen they have a next one in the Aliens franchise, Covenant?
Okay, so Aliens is I know Aliens is another one for me. Mm-hmm. I'm a big Aliens fan. Yeah. Here's where I'm at with the Aliens.
Okay. Doc, where are you at on the Aliens?
Do you want to? Okay. Do you really want to know what I had planned to talk about in pop culture today?
Sure.
Yeah, we actually just need to get Dr. Hauser back here to help us out, and just calm down, guys. I was going to talk about Star Wars and the 40th anniversary celebration, and we're Smokey and the Bandit, James Bond, and now Alien. So we'll get by way of space.
Yeah,
we'll probably come back to Star Wars, but
maybe next Friday.
I don't know. We got like an hour and a half to kill.
Like next week's like, hey Blake, where do you come down on the Aliens?
No, man, come on. This is fresh.
Yeah,
come up with fresh stuff.
Right.
We walk in here. We're like, what are we doing? I don't know. There's some headlines: Rex Tillerson or Alien. Yeah. Boom. Let's go with Alien. So I'm a huge fan. I think the Alien movie. The first one is truly one of the brilliant films, one of the great science fiction movies, like right up there with right up there with even 2001 and stuff. Totally different
genre-defining movies that they put their stake in the sand, and it's like everything else now works around the standard, which is
what's weird is it was a simple, just like Blade Runner, another completely iconic, and top sci-fi movie of all time, both directed by Ridley Scott, so give the guy cred. But the thing with Alien is it's a simple plot. It's actually based on, I think, a very old movie, which is basically you've got a thing and it's killing the crew, and have a nice day. It's a little bit of Lifeboat. I mean, it's kind of like,
I was going to be a smart aleck. It reminds me of an old movie. Ziegfeld Follies.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Never mind, but it's a Friday.
That's the one thing Dark Horse didn't do. Our buddy's Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Is a Ziegfeld Follies of Alien and Predator.
Yeah.
You know, with the it's Alien and Predator, and they're all just like whole bunch of xenomorphs. La, la,
Next thing you know, it's a song and dance, right? You're right. Some Busby Berkeley or whatever. Berkeley Busby was that?
Springtime for genocide. Nuke them. The only way to be sure. That was
And
horrible.
the thing it pops out at the end. Cha-cha-cha.
That was my little demo reel for the next season of MST3K. Hey Joel, I'm available.
Didn't Mel Brooks do that though? Wasn't that in Spaceballs where they're in that little cafe and his thing pops out of his stomach? The next thing you know, he puts on a little top hat and a cane.
Oh,
and it's like,
yeah, I think you're right. You're right. Yeah, I do recall that. I watched Spaceballs.
Yeah, they're in a
a while
cantina
ago.
or whatever,
Yeah.
and then the guy oh no, you know the original guy that popped out of in the Alien movie, he's like, oh no, not again, you know, and pop, and then the guy comes up with a little top hat and a little cane.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
Brooks.
just Pizza the Hut.
Yes.
The Schwartz will be with you.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Oh,
that's where the term me and Mark, we always call ourselves Mogs. That's where it comes from, Mog.
Yeah.
John Candy, he's a Mog, half man, half dog. He's his own best friend. You know?
John Candy.
They're cruising around in a Winnebago playing Bon Jovi. I mean, how could you not like that?
George
right?
Lucas.
Yes.
At the celebration, the Star Wars celebration, which is the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. 40 years, right? So it was a big... So they have this once-a-year thing called Celebration. They have a Celebration Europe, which I think is in Berlin or somewhere, like in Germany. Germans love this Star Wars, otherwise known as Krieg der Sterne.
They also love their Hasselhoff.
That's actually what it was originally called. I think now it's just Star Wars. We dropped the Krieg der Sterne stuff. I had a German pen pal, and I was trying to explain to him, I'm really into this movie, man. What's it called? Star Wars. Oh, Krieg der Sterne, yeah. War of the Stars. I mean, it just doesn't have that ring in German.
Yeah.
Funny, though, all the Empire guys are speaking German. It's close to home.
Go figure.
We will get more men. We promise.
Use the Force.
We will double our efforts. 40th anniversary of Star Wars, and they have this celebration. It's now in Florida, down at the Disney World complex. Disney's there, and it's a really big deal. I mean, all
Orlando.
the big hardcore Star Wars fans and the writers and the blogs and everyone shows up. And since it was 40th anniversary, everyone showed up, with the exception, sadly, of one very key person who she was always at these things. She was a huge hit.
Very accessible, yeah.
But Carrie Fisher passed away, it was in November, right in the holidays. And so they, of course, did some tributes to her. And was sorely missed because she was probably one of the most entertaining people on at these celebrations. And they live stream them now for free. There's a little problem with that. And I was watching a little bit of it. George Lucas, they weren't even sure George Lucas was there because they were kind of like, well, now he sold it to Disney. He's like, get out of here with the Star Wars. I don't want to. Nope, Lucas was there, and so one of the factoids, since Lucas was there, and they interviewed him. Oh, and it was hosted by Warwick Davis.
Okay,
who was Wicket. He was 11 years old.
Yeah. Willow, right?
Willow, Wicket, Warwick Davis.
Yeah, Time Bandits.
Funny comedian. Well, watch his stuff that he does with Ricky Gervais and Johnny Depp. It's online. You can watch. It's like you'll be if you like that kind of comedy. He's a funny guy, and he does stuff with Ricky Gervais, which is hilarious. But anyway, I think they had a little comedy show or something, British thing. So he was hosting it. So he was actually really good, great host. And so, long story short, because hey, it's all long always, all the time. Stories, that is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what happened is that they asked Lucas specifically about and he was on there with the guy who played Chewbacca, Warwick Davis, Hansel, Harrison Ford even showed up. Billy D. Williams was there.
Lando frickin'
you can watch
Calrissian.
this. Go up on YouTube, watch it. And they asked him, okay, Chewbacca, what was the thing? And he literally said, I had this big dog, and I had a convertible, and I would go driving, and my dog was on shotgun, and when the dog sat there, he was like even taller than I was driving around, and he was like, that was my inspiration for Chewbacca.
Nice.
The dog.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing. Like, the first time you saw it, it was like dogs in space.
Right.
It was like, what? Oh, is that a dog flying that spaceship? Like, literally, the very first time you saw the preview in the theater.
Right. Mom, I want a Wookiee.
Yeah.
Can you buy me a Wookiee? Let's go down to Petco and see if we have any Wookiees in.
That's convenient. Biscuits and get us into hyperspace, Chewie.
Right.
Who doesn't like that, you know?
Right. Not only does he look darn cute, he's a multitasker as well, right? Take us into hyperspace, Chewie. Next thing you know, you're blazing through.
You know, the whole Chewbacca thing is kind of weird. I mean, I dig the Wookiees. I'm a Star Wars fan.
Oh yeah.
So if you're a Star Wars fan, you gotta love the Wookiees.
You gotta love the Wookiees.
You gotta love Chewbacca. Everybody likes Chewbacca, right?
It's a prerequisite.
Yeah. And we saw, what's his name, the guy who played Chewbacca there, who's now retired.
Right?
Mayhew, Peter Mayhew.
The guy screwed his name up with. Anyway, moving on.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Peter Mayhew, right?
Peter Mayhew, yeah. And so, but the thing is you're watching the Star Wars movie and this like a Wookiee, and they come from the Wookiee planet. I can't remember what it was called, but
me either.
Kashyyyk. I think that's what it's called. Believe it or not, I pulled that out because it sounds like something you'd go and buy in the store before a date.
Well, yeah, but it also
it's like, they're on that planet. They export. They export items that you would buy before a hot date. Kashyyyk.
To me, it sounds like a menu item if you went into a Lebanese restaurant.
Yeah.
I'd like a side order of Kashyyyk.
Yeah.
You know, with a lamb kebab.
That's where my mind is.
Yeah, it's Friday. You know.
Anyway,
it's Friday.
Kashyyyk for.
I need two packs of Twinkies and Kashyyyk. A pack of Kashyyks.
Oh my God!
It's gonna be one heck of a weekend, man.
Twinkies.
Well, yeah, because you never
You bring Twinkies on a hot date?
You got to. No.
You got to?
No. Here's my thinking. Here's my thinking. You can never, gentlemen. Right? When I say this, you're all going to be nodding your heads.
Okay, wait. No, I'm not nodding my head. I'm just thinking about
Twinkies and
how we get to first base.
Well, no. It's one of those items, right? I say Twinkie, but you can fill in your own item. Because whenever you go into a store and you buy Kashyyyks, you can't just buy your Kashyyyks, right? Because that's too brazen. So you gotta have something to mask it, to put on top of it or next to it, to kind of like, so the person in back of you is like not looking. Oh, I know what he's doing tonight. So you get your Twinkie and you set it down and then you set the Twinkies on top of it, and it's kind of like camouflage, right? But you can put in any item. I just say Twinkies because that's where my mind's at. And
I was a cupcake man myself.
Oh, huge cupcake man.
Hostess cupcake.
Remember the old Tiger Tails? I love Tiger Tails, man.
Are those weird things that have like the pink weird?
Yes, and then it had the coconut, on top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
I was always like, what the hell is that?
It's sad.
Yeah, here's the ho-ho.
Ho-hos.
I mean, when you'd just be like...
Kashyyyks and ho-hos.
Kashyyyks and ho-hos. Well, that'll be on my must-watch list on RedTube, Pornhub.
This hour brought to you by...
Where's Doc Housel when we need...
Right, Doc. 503-395-5040.
That's right.
We need you.
Like, I feel horrible saying that, but if you caught the show last time...
Right.
Anyway, I just like my train of thought. Just I've lost it. So the 40-year, and also anyone who likes Star Wars and is watching this is now like we're mortal enemies. You don't say that about the Wookiee planet.
Every planet to me is Tatooine. I forget every other name of every planet except Tatooine.
Yeah, that was my problem with the new. You said you haven't seen the new movie.
I have not seen
The Force
Rogue One.
Oh,
or The Force Awakens. I haven't seen it.
Dude.
Yeah. I saw the 3, where...
I liked Rogue... I liked both of them. Again, Star Wars fan, right?
I haven't seen Force Awakens, because when someone told me Han Solo I said, I can't watch it, man.
Yeah,
Can't do
it's pretty.
Can't do it.
It's intense.
Can't do it.
It's a thing.
I was still, dude. 30 years later, I'm still processing Spock getting whacked. And
Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, see,
But he comes back.
I know he does, but still, that's
don't you expect though that by the next the new one's coming out this holiday?
Yes, Chris Pine.
No, I'm talking about the Star Wars.
The Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. Thank you. And then 2 years and they'll have the last one. Don't you feel like at some point it'll be like they'll be out there and then all of a sudden Space Ghost. Not Space Ghost, but the Star Wars Space Force Ghost. And there's Han Solo like, hey, Chewie, how you doing?
Right, standing next to Obi-Wan. Yeah. Right? They're just kind of smoking, hanging out.
I'm still not down on this Force thing.
Still foggy on the Force.
Doing Yeah, I knew Luke. It's all true. The Jedi. Yeah. He's a good, okay, so who does a great impression of him?
I knew Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, with Harrison Ford, it's a little bit more like...
Right, well, yeah.
I knew Luke. I'm not saying anything bad.
No.
That's just a well-known, I think he's
We're an
advocate.
Listen, we are in a judgment-free circle.
And the way Harrison Ford looks, and he's got his... third young wife and whatever, and guy's like 70.
Ally McBeal.
Yeah. Time, He's like 70 something. He's crashing planes on the highway.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, if you're 70 years old and you're crashing planes on the highway, you could,
right.
do a little,
right.
He's in great shape. I mean, the guy works out.
He's
right?
Indiana Jones,
but
man.
He's still in great shape though.
Yeah.
Like he walks on at the Star Wars thing and he's wearing like a silk tight shirt, and you're like, damn, this guy's like 75 or something, It's like...
Interesting story.
For me, I could look this good.
Interesting story, Crystal Skull, right? They all get together after many years.
I just recently saw that. I'd never seen it.
It's an interesting movie. I didn't mind it as much as I like, okay, they're going to...
It got terrible reviews.
It's going to kick, they're going to kick dirt on the whole image of... But, it was one of those movies where you watch it, and it's not so bad. And you watch it like years later, and it's like, that's not... It's not... I think it's one of those things that over time will be more accepted over time in the long run than what it was at the time it was in the box office. But no, Harrison Ford, right? They're getting ready... They're in pre-production. They're getting ready to start filming. And he's like, "Yeah, I can do this now. That's not a problem." And they're like, "Dude, you're 60 some odd years old, almost 70. There is no way we are going to let you do this." He's like, "No, I can do it." And he did a couple, and they're like, "Holy crap, this guy's still pretty athletic."
I'll fly my own plane.
Right. I'm Indiana frickin' Jones, man.
His joke,
frickin' Solo.
His joke at the Star Wars thing that he even said is like, "Yeah, I just don't land it so well." The one thing I learned from that movie, from that Indiana Jones Crystal Skull, and this is good to know, Jason.
Okay.
When the nuclear war comes, when the bombs go off, hide in a refrigerator.
Hide in, it's not any refrigerator. Hide in an old Norwich.
Yeah, well,
you're gonna get through anything in that one.
I don't think the Kenmore Samsung is gonna protect you. It's tin, plastic.
I expect an email from them now any minute.
Yeah, I kind of was like that when I saw that. I was like, okay, yeah, all right. I can see where the critics were having issues with this movie, but whatever.
It's tongue in cheek, though. I mean, it knows that there's no realism can be kind of put in the back seat.
Yeah, at that point. So I'm watching the replay. This was about, I want to say last week. It wasn't it was like last week, the celebration. Or almost 2 weeks ago. We were a little bit behind. We were working on websites and things.
I am perpetually behind.
But this is recent. This is like the replays are up there. And it was live streamed and there were some issues.
Sure.
So there are some issues with the recording. But it's all up on the Disney YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. And I was watching Mark Hamill. And he's not Carrie Fisher, but he was friends with Carrie Fisher, close friends. And he's kind of a... I don't want to say crackpot. Crackpot. Yeah. No, he's a fun guy. Mark Hamill's got lots of stories, and
That's
he had like
eccentric.
and he had laryngitis when he was doing this thing. So I was like, poor guy could barely speak. I felt bad for him.
The voice box.
Yeah, but he
Star Wars was awesome.
Yeah, and he had some great stories about Carrie Fisher and
Use the Force.
Yep, pretty much, and Harrison Ford and he does a good Harrison Ford, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I was watching. I was trying to think of factoids that I heard. Oh, he talks in his, and they all did these like big personal tributes to Carrie Fisher too.
Yeah.
But which I think for me, like with The Force Awakens, yeah, you have the character. I mean, spoiler alert, Han Solo. But you know, what's bad now is we had a new movie coming out, and Carrie Fisher isn't with us anymore. But she shot all her scenes, so
that's gonna be a tough one.
Well, the news is, I mean, they shot all her scenes in this new one, so it's like there was no issue with making the movie, and they have said they will not digitally recreate her image or anything like that.
Yeah.
But one of the big stories Carrie Fisher's brother had said that she would. I can't remember what it was. It was something like they're not going to digitally recreate, but they're going to. She'll be in the last movie or whatever. Yeah. And Kathleen Kennedy, who runs the whole shebang Star Wars thing down there at the celebration, said, no, we're going to address that in the storyline.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of a newsy thing.
Wow, yeah.
She was quoted like, it will be addressed in the storyline. So you imagine what that may mean, right? You know.
Yeah, I can. They're looking for closure, and they're going to give it to you.
Well, what are you going to do, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
And there's a little tie-in to the Rogue One too.
Okay,
watch that with Carrie Fisher. So that's a little thing too. But I won't spoil that for you.
Okay.
So the Mark Hamill thing, that was good. So he at the end he starts telling the story about right after they made it. He's telling a lot of stories about him and Carrie Fisher when they made the first movie. You know, because it was brand new, right? They were all just like
kids.
Yeah, what are they doing? And one of his stories is they snuck into the theater. I think they were over there. Well, I can't remember if they were still in London, but they snuck in the theater and they said maybe they were stateside, but they were like, "Hey, they're showing the trailer for Star Wars."
Wow.
And we wanted to sneak in and see it because we haven't seen anything, right? We have no clue. Yeah. And he describes watching the trailer, and it is exactly the trailer that I saw as a kid in the movie. I saw the original trailer.
Yeah.
I maybe won't play it here because we keep dealing with trying to figure out the copyright on YouTube, copyright bot.
And George Lucas is a pretty stringent copyright guy.
That's Disney. That's even more.
Yeah,
but
Disney. Yeah.
But it is the trailer that I remember and I saw, and you can find it on YouTube. You put in original Star Wars trailer, like original.
Google it.
Yeah, not after the movie.
Yeah.
There is no John Williams music.
Wow. Really?
None. No.
Pre-John Williams.
And it's funny because Mark Hamill's describing this blow by blow. He's like, well, we sat in the theater and first you hear this boom, 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 right? And I'm like, he's describing exactly the original trailer. I went to see this movie, I think it was like Silver Streak or something, and they were playing the trailer, and this was it. And it's before the music was done. John Williams hadn't finished the music, so there was no John Williams music, and it's just scenes, because they cut these things together as they're editing, right? Because they got to sell the movie.
Yeah.
And they're still editing and putting music down.
Yeah.
And it's totally, if you go watch it, it's crazy. It's like, is this Star Wars? And one of the things, and I forgot, and he mentioned it, Chewbacca's wearing headphones in the cockpit. You never saw that scene.
No.
And it's like, and you're like, a dog in space? What is that?
Right.
And literally, as a kid, I had the same reaction. Like, everyone had the same reaction.
Yeah.
And it was like, from the mind of George Lucas, the creator of American Graffiti. I mean, this is how it started, right? And there's no music. Yeah. And then there's just action, pow, pow, pew, pew, pew. very limited effects because they hadn't finished all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's really crazy to go watch because you know when you think Star Wars now you're
Dun, 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 dun.
Luke, hey, Chewbacca, wah, you know exactly lightsabers. We'll be doing this. We'll be doing all our.
I am your father.
Good lightsaber.
James Earl.
That's good. That's pretty good. Anyway, so he describes this whole experience of him and Gary Fisher seeing this thing that they've never seen. They're in it, and they're like, and he's like, I don't even think. Gosh, I don't even know if there is a Luke scene in it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they're cutting the whole thing together.
Wow.
And again, it's the weirdest thing because. And it's so 70s. And it looks like such a B-70s movie when you watch this thing.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, how can you can't watch a Star Wars trailer without and the John Williams and
just getting your senses are getting assaulted
and
from all the
and all that stuff, right? Not this doom from the mind of George Lucas. Clear of TH 1138 and American Graffiti. It's like a new film. Dogs in space. Anyway. So we've beaten that to death.
Good morning, everybody.
Go watch.
Happy Friday.
Go watch The Celebration.
Interesting.
So
Very
Alien, I really liked. That was a good movie.
Ridley Scott, yeah.
And the reason I liked it was to just bring it back there, and why I think it's one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time, way up there, is the art direction. It was just a convergence, like Blade Runner, a convergence of really, really great filmmakers.
Yeah.
And it was H.R. Giger, the crazy Swiss artist who created all that alien landscape. I think North Korea is bombing right now, by the way. I'm hearing this something out in the sky out there.
Right. This hour brought to you by NATO.
Yeah. So I think that's part of what made it so cool, because when you watch the movie Alien for the first time and it's like, well, we got to go land on a planet and stuff. It's an alien planet. It's like, and you're like, yeah, that is an alien planet.
Right.
That's not like, that's kind of crazy.
To this day, when I think of Alien, right, I always think of the eerie. The spaceships, right? They're all eerily lighted.
Yeah.
Real kind of
exactly.
If I had a term, I'd say like goth industrial almost.
Yes.
Everything's steel and metal. The lighting's eerie, and nothing good is going to happen when you have that sort of lighting, right?
That's exactly right, and that's one of. I mean, every scene in that movie Alien is just the original. The first one is just so like, oh, I just love what they did with this. And the opening scene is you see their spaceship, which is just like a tugboat kind of a thing floating in space.
Lonely space, right? These are almost castaways adrift out in the middle of nowhere. No one's going to save them. This is just, bad stuff is going to happen.
And if you're a kid, if you're into sci-fi and you put your mind in that, and you think, if I go out and explore or mine or do something in space, and I'm light years away from Earth, and I'm in a spaceship, it's maybe lonely and bad things can happen, and you're just out there. I mean, if you think of like James Cook and the great, like, the explorers of the world on the sea, they ran into some crazy stuff.
Yeah,
but they were still on Earth in the ocean, right? They'd run into islands, Tahitians, things like that.
Headhunters, giant squids, who name it. And see, that's another cool thing about Alien, right? Is they totally recast what an alien is.
Yeah.
We we just got used to E.T., Oh, E.T. phone home, cute little alien.
Yeah.
I mean, here's this squid-looking thing, like, just faster than heck, right? It attaches to your face, and next thing you know, it's brilliant,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, okay, so we're going to go and land on a planet, and we're humans, and we evolved on Earth.
Yeah.
There's a thing. You're going to... I don't know if you've heard about this, but I'd have to look it up to give you the details. Let me try to do the 30,000 here.
Yes.
Because we have evolved on Earth, which is basically everything. We're like, now there's questions about stuff, organic materials that come from space, and I think there's good evidence we're finding now that's maybe it's out there, but who knows where it is? Like, we're finding all these inhabitable planets on different stars. Okay, so the deal is, because you evolve on a planet like Earth, your molecular structure and the way you put together the organic chemistry is, and I'm going to really oversimplify it because I'd have to look it up and read it, is Earth-like. So basically it's like, this is the way we put together the molecules on Earth for organic chemistry.
Carbon-based.
Well, no, it's a little bit more. It's basically how you piece the puzzle together.
Okay.
Like, here's how we build the amino acids for the DNA. Here's how we do this. Okay.
Right. Okay.
There is no reason, I'm going below your mind, there is no reason that on another planet that you can take those same amino acids and stuff, make DNA and stuff, but do it the opposite way. Yeah. Which immediately would make these two planets completely incompatible organically. Right. Like, to the point that you couldn't go on that planet and eat an apple or fruit because it would be organically opposite to what your body and everything is used to, and we don't know what would the effects be. And then this isn't like a matter antimatter. This is just basic organic chemistry. It's like, well, we put it together this way, and it's how the it has to do with, I think, the isotopes and that sort of thing. It's too early in the morning for me to.
Isn't that so human egocentric, though, that we automatically think if we go to a planet, it has to be Earth-like, right? Like, it has to be what we perceive as, well, sure, they may look different from us, but
Well, okay. In the search for life, we only have one example to go on.
Not to be confused with the search for Spock.
Right, exactly.
Throwing that out there.
So we look at Earth, we look at how life evolved on Earth, and we go, okay, we gotta. This is what we're looking for. I mean, sure, you could. There could be life out there that, and Star Trek did all this stuff in the 60s, right? Little light globule things, and it's like, well, that's like, crystalline entities, next generation.
At least you knew that they were kind of thinking that kind of route.
But here's the thing: we can't. We're not that smart yet. No. We can't go that far. No. All we can do is go, hey, is there life out there that's like what we got here? Okay. Yeah. All right. So where does that start? It starts with chemistry. Organic chemistry, because the building blocks of life are organic chemistry. Yeah. And that's what we're searching for. And that's what we're starting to find evidence of, even in our own solar system, where it's like, well, we thought this was all dead, and Earth is pretty much the Garden of Eden in the planets. It's like, we're finding, this is why we're looking at moons and with subterranean oceans on Saturn and Jupiter, right? Because there's real possibility that there's at least, maybe not life, but organic, the building blocks.
Microbial, sort of,
or organic chemistry, the building blocks of what life is, right? Yeah, yeah. And we know that there are planets that are in places that
the sweet spots.
Yeah, right. The Goldilocks. So it's all out there. We just can't just willy-nilly go out there like the people in Alien. That's the problem. It would be great if we could let's just go out there, or send a robot out there, get them out there, take a look. So that's what we're looking for. But the thing that blew my mind about that is the fact that you could have incompatibility with the organic chemistry, which would make the life. It could look like our life. It could be like, there's a slug animal thing right there, but it's complete. We don't wholly interact. Different, Like, you could eat this thing, but your body's not going to be able to break it down because the organic chemistry is wrong. Yeah. And that just blew my mind. It's like, and this isn't, like I said, it's not antimatter matter. It's just the basic chemistry, the basic building blocks. I have to look it up and tell you what it is.
I can even anecdote that. You ready for this? Read a book not too long ago called The Book of Ralph. Mm-hmm. And it's about a strange alien person who comes to Earth to warn Earth about impending, other aliens. And he's in a spacesuit because he can't even go in the Earth because he's so diametrically opposite. He looks to humans like a pink mist.
Yeah.
And so they're like, "Wow, you're so." Of course, it's kind of a comedic sort of, almost real Monty Python-ish, galaxy at the end, whatever it is, at the end of the universe or whatever. And like humans are like, "Hey, wow, you look so different." And he's got he's total smart aleck too. He's like, "Yeah, like I really want to look like you guys." Mm-hmm. Have you seen your sagging skin suits? Really, God, I'm a good pink mist, and what happens is he figures, if I show myself to humanity, humans are gonna get so spooked because they've never witnessed anything like me. So I've got to appear in something that they'll recognize as inoffensive. So what he sees, through TV waves or radio waves or whatever, is he lands on the moon, right? The people first notice something's up when he lands on the moon, and his spaceship looks like a Diet Coke can.
I like that.
Yeah, and he's like, well, people understand that, and so it's it's a really funny book, but I don't mean funny as in haha so much as in funny as in it really, with some sort of levity, it makes you think about your perceptions of everything, reality.
I mean, there were some great authors that I read when I was a kid that were like Ben Bova was one who just wrote some very speculative, scientifically accurate things, but had the irony of that. Yeah. I was just looking here. So for example, organic chemistry, life's building blocks. Just if you look at the recent headlines, and this is stuff I'd rather talk about than other things.
Right.
But on space.com in February, they had the headline "Life's building blocks found on dwarf planet Ceres." That's that little moon out there in the asteroid belt that looks like the Death Star with the glowing, which is salt. Right. Well, it's salt. It's a salt, which salts. You need salts for life, baby. You need those electrolytes.
Alkalines.
But I'm trying to think. I was gonna say there's a Wikipedia page called Hypothetical Types of Biochemistry, and I think this falls into. Hypothetical types of biochemistry are forms of biochemistry speculated to be scientifically viable but not proven to exist at this time. The kinds of living organisms currently known on Earth all use carbon compounds for basic structural I can't talk. I cannot say the word metabolic. Thank you.
Yes.
Functions. Water as a solvent and DNA or RNA as to define control of their forms. If life exists on other planets or moons, it may be chemically similar. So, same building. It's also possible that there are organisms with quite different chemistries, for instance, involving other classes of carbon compounds, compounds of another element, or other solvent in place of water. Although we generally look for it in water. But it gets to the point where, they talk about, if you're using ammonia or methane or something like that. Yeah. But the point being that you could put together those compounds in a different way. Like the fact that DNA and RNA, which is the key to all life on Earth, is DNA and RNA. That's always the stuff we want to do. Those are like our building blocks. That's what makes life. That's the first thing that happened. is putting together these little amino acids in little chains, and then the little chains, the little building blocks.
Sure.
And this is all the stuff that they're. I know, right?
No.
It's just a mess. It's Friday, and I'm wearing a hoodie.
Right.
I'm the last Jedi. That's the alien thing. So But that's what they're doing with these new movies. The Alien Prometheus, which I saw, which I was disappointed in.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But Ridley's trying to do this whole origin story about, well, what are the aliens? How did they come about? What is the chemistry? What is the biology? What is the evolution? Because you probably didn't see Prometheus, right?
No, I have not seen it.
Okay, because it involves like the planet and who was that skeleton guy there that they found, and who were those people, and who made the aliens. It was kind of weird.
Interesting.
It was. I don't know. In the movie Alien, and then the movie Aliens, which was a James Cameron, Terminator in space thing, which was real good because it carried on. And then after that, it was just sort of interesting ideas on the Alien. And then when they got Alien Predator and I don't know. I mean, I like it, but it's you're not gonna beat the original movie,
No,
or even the sequel, which was also well done.
Oh yeah, Aliens.
Yeah,
that was good.
I like the world. I like the idea. I like the whole kind of futuristic. We're kind of out there. We're kind of terraforming and all that. But yeah, Prometheus was just like, I was so excited because it's like Ridley's back. He's writing the story. He's directing. They got a good cast and everything. And then it's like, hey, we went to see the movie, and it was like, what? What just happened there? There's like this. It was all like this black goo that. Anyway, so we'll see. People are excited, but I mean, the trailer just looks like it's like if you
the eerie lighting,
and then all of a sudden people are in a shower, and you see like the weird like thing, and and you're like, oh, it's an alien movie. It's like, yeah, okay, well, I hope it's good.
You can't even take a shower anymore.
Right. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
I hope it's good. Well, I mean, the alien. I mean, you go to a planet, weird stuff happens, a thing pops up and gets in the dude's spacesuit, and then the dude, who, by the way, John Hurt, another person that passed away, great actor, and then you're sitting around, and then, and it's like, that's crazy. That's a crazy ride in a movie, right?
Yeah.
And then it even gets worse.
It just goes from there.
I mean, and Yaphet Kotto, like, most of his lines at that point are just like, what is that? And that's a great cast too. Yeah. The original Alien has a fantastic cast.
Right.
All of those actors in my mind are just top notch. I'm a fan of, Harry Dean Stanton, Yaphet Kotto.
Yeah.
So Sigourney Weaver was an unknown.
Right? Yeah. The whole cast was like. Almost filled with character actors in a way.
Veronica Cartwright, I think Veronica Cartwright, sister of the other Cartwright, who was the teenage girl on Lost in Space. That's her sister.
There you go.
And who, as a little girl, her first most famous acting gig, she's a little girl in The Birds.
There you go.
Veronica Cartwright.
Hitchcock,
in The Birds, which is crazy because you think about it, it's like you watch that movie and it's like, here's a little girl and the birds are attacking and stuff,
right?
And years later she's an adult and here she's on the spaceship and the aliens are attacking. It's like, she's made for this. Veronica Cartwright. Anyway,
right.
So there you go.
Your aliens moment.
Down the trivia path of useless knowledge.
Well, when we were talking about that, what came in
or talk about Trump.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Could be sort of the same. But, when we were talking about aliens, I said to myself, sometime here in early May, since May's coming next week, we need to get Doc Housel on because I want to have her do her take on the upcoming summer movies.
Oh, yeah, we got to
intro us to what's coming down the pike this summer in the movie theaters.
Well, May the 4th, that which is coming up, which is weird because the celebration happened. And then May the 4th, which is
a week and a half, maybe?
And that's Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
May the 4th. May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, so that's Star Wars Day. So that'll be the 40th anniversary of the Star Wars Day. They had Aliens Day, too. That's an... it's 4... I know what it is. It's 425. That popped up in Twitter, too. I mean, this is just bad, right?
Yeah.
The food for your crazy mimetic meme brain that's useless. 425 is Alien Day. And I forgot, and I saw it popped up.
5 days after 420 day, right?
Right. No, I had to think about this. I had to think about it just now. It was like, what is Alien Day? 425. Right. April 25th, 425, because what is the planet they land on? LV 425.
Yeah.
That's the name of the planet. God help us. God help us all.
That's right. That's the Coffee and Curmudgeon's logo, movie. Right? Yeah.
It'll be you and me. We're driving like a kind of a minivan, kind of one of those Winnebago. Well, I mean they already did that on the Spaceballs, but kind of a space Winnebago. It'll look better than that. It'll look more spacey, but it'll be the equivalent of that. Yeah. And
fuzzy dice off the rearview mirror.
And
cool.
Maybe we should add in some token, like like Cheech and Chong, right?
Well, you might
give it a little Cheech and Chong flavor.
I'm thinking that. I'm thinking what we gotta do is we do it real subtly though. Just make it like it's real like smoky in there. Like you never see his token, but you know something's going on.
I like it. And then we'll be like, "How did we get man, what was that? Did you see that, man?"
Whoa, bro, what's scuttled behind a rock over there, dude? Let's pull over and check it out.
No, man, I didn't see that at all, man.
Hey, will you hand me my Twinkies
and
Kashikas?
Well, you know what? We gotta pitch. Yeah. They're still around, right?
What's that?
A new Cheech and Chong movie, sci-fi in space. Cheech and Chong.
Tommy Chong just passed away within a few days ago.
Dang.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he passed away. Sad. I'm still processing that one. He's like one of those guys that just kind of it slipped.
No. Talking Shop with Tommy Chong, April 4th. No.
Yeah, I thought he passed away.
No. I'm looking at the news right now. I'm like, no.
It's kind
Tommy's still around. Yeah, he's still around. 78 years old. Oh, come on, man. I know. That's the thing. After last year, everyone dies. You're just like, you're like, no, I know. I got you. You probably, and here's the thing. Here's what happens, Jason.
Yeah.
You'll be on Twitter or Facebook, and you'll see these trends, and you'll see like Tommy Chong, and you'll think, uh-oh, what happened, right? Because you'll see someone's name, and then it's like, oh, okay, they gave a speech or something. Whew. Because for a while there, you just see someone's name pop up. Like
he's still alive.
Yes.
I was under this whole thing that he was passed away, and I've been bummed out.
Like, when we did the show on Wednesday.
It goes viral again, March 5th, Tommy Chong death hoax.
Is it? What? When was it?
March 5th.
A death hoax, right?
Death hoax, yeah.
The thing is when you said that, though, I wasn't sure. I had to look it up because I was like,
I remember something about that.
And that's the problem. After we had last year with all the
I've been fake newsed.
Yeah. Fake news.
How now?
Well, we fact-checked it.
Yeah,
we fact-checked it right here. On the news, but headlines, we fact-checked it. Come on, we fact-check. We fact-check. We do.
We do, because we want to know for certain.
He's 78 years old.
Listen, folks, when we talk out of our butts, it's going to be
fact-checked.
And
we do it ourselves, too, because we don't have a staff, so we just have to do it here.
What do you mean we don't? We got interns.
Yeah. So we can pitch them our idea.
Yeah.
Cheech and Chong in space.
What was that, like up in smoke in space, right?
Whoa, I don't. Yeah. Did you see that, man? Oh, man.
Oh, dude.
And then it's like Sheriff Clifton Buford T, you boys are speeding through the hyperspace.
Right.
I smell in your space, in your Winnebago
He's in
spaceship.
one of those space sleds. Yeah. Pull over. I want to talk to you for a minute. Next thing you know, the space VW bus pulls over, Dude, that's all right, dude. Just chill. I'll do the talking, right? Pull down your window, boy.
What's wrong, man? Hey, man, what's wrong?
Right. Hey, officer,
what's going headband on?
Boy. Boy, do you know how fast you were going, boy? Let me tell you how fast you were going. You were going 5.3 parsecs.
Oh, wow, man. That sounds fast, man.
Really fast. Don't you know that there's little alien critters around here trying to get to school, and you running over them?
Were we going that fast, man? Oh, man. I don't know if we're going to get so fast, man.
And then Buford's got to look at the camera. Are we going that fast? Buford's got to look at the camera, and then some.
You know, every kid, every probably person my age-ish.
Ish?
Probably has a Cheech and Chong impression in their head when we were kids, because that was like that was must listen albuming, even if you weren't like a big druggie or anything. It still was funny.
You had those albums. You had the Richard Pryor.
Hey man, is Dave there? Dave, hey Dave. Oh man, Dave's not here, man.
Not here, man.
Sister Mary Elephant.
Yeah.
Shut up! Oh God, I could go on. These are classics. Look them up, kids.
Not a Cheech and Chong film, but I have a real soft space in my heart.
Their albums were great.
Born in East LA.
Yeah, so do I.
Love that movie.
And it was a song and a video.
Yeah,
because it was just completely. It was Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. And it was just Born in East LA.
I like that movie.
But their records. Yeah, I gotta go look. I gotta listen. I remember years ago, back in the days when there was a late night FM radio, and it sounded like "Welcome to Doc Normal's Deep Tracks."
We're talking almost like Dr. Demento-ish here.
Oh yeah, this was like, I mean, who's still alive, still around, still kicking, still doing his thing. We're gonna listen to a side of Dark Side of the Moon, and then a little track from Cheech and Chong, and it would be like Sister Mary Elephant or something, and then it'd be like, hello, and you just have headphones on at like midnight, and you'd be like, I don't know.
Roger Waters meets Cheech and Chong.
I want to go to school. I just want to hang out and listen to these sounds on my radio.
Don't tell me it's Sunday, man. I want it to be Saturday night still.
That's right. And they'd always, my favorite thing, and I looked this guy up. He's still around. He's still kicking. He's still doing this thing, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Okay.
If you Google he did interviews in the 70s. He'd go around with his tape recorder. I remember one that was really famous when Fleetwood Mac was just like huge. Yeah. He went over to Stevie Nicks' house and went up in her bedroom and did an interview with her in her bedroom. And there's like 20 people there. She's having a house party. So she's going in and out. It's like, oh, I got to be right back. I got to go get some more vodka or something, right?
Yeah.
And this was like rock and roll interviews. And the guy was really good. He had a great voice. And it's like, I sat down with Stevie Nicks. We ended up in her bedroom. I was sitting on the edge of her bed as the party goers were downstairs. Stevie brought in a vodka martini and a cigarette for me. Here's part one of this interview. And it would be like, you'd be like, ooh, rock and roll,
Stevie, what is that funny white powder you have?
Yeah, well, hey. Well, yeah.
It's in the 70s, dude. I mean, that's what's going on, right?
What was his radio show? I know I looked it up. And it was called something like Inner View. Like, I get it.
It wasn't like Rick Dees, was it?
No. Okay. This was before. And
this
the guy's
pre-Dees.
Jim Ladd.
Ah, okay.
Jim Ladd. This guy's still around. Here he is. He's got kind of that DJ look, like someone else we know.
Who that?
No, there's Jim Ladd. Yeah. 69 years old, disc jockey, radio personality.
Right.
And he was just really, and he's still KMET. He was syndicated. Oh, that's it. He's on Sirius XM. All these guys end up on the satellite.
Okay.
Yeah. He was like a big dude. Radio Chaos. I was gonna say. But yeah, he's around. He did a lot of good stuff. Jim Ladd. Yeah, it was Jim Ladd.
Jim Ladd. Okay.
Yeah, old DJs. I like people like that, like the real old school.
Remember Cousin Brucey? Was that him?
I don't. Brucey? Is he a comedian guy?
No, he old school DJ, playing the oldies.
Was he like he was like a Wolfman Jack
kind of
guy? Yeah,
he's a real throwback. Wolfman Jack, what you'd think of Alan Freed, the old school DJ, and God bless him. That's why he came to mind, is when you mentioned Sirius XM, they actually got him a show. And he's pretty much retired nowadays because he's got to be in his early 70s.
Oh, right? Yeah, all these people are...
But he's up in the Hollywood Hills up there, just at his house, and they put a little studio in his house for him so he could walk in there and sit down and do the show, because they figured out that, my God, this guy is a walking Encyclopedia Britannica of rock and roll lore.
Exactly.
Now, he was around for everything, right? So tell us a story about this, that. And it's like, wow. It's one of those guys where you screw the music. I want to listen to this guy talk about, hanging out with Jim Morrison down on the strip,
right.
Circa 66, right? And so, oof.
Well, I mean, it's like, I hear in 2017 it takes multi-millions of dollars to do digital media on the internet. Not exactly.
Don't blow the
yeah. No, I mean, it's like you're saying, he's like just doing his thing in the West, and that's beautiful. That to me is why that is what this is for. That's what the media is for. That's what the internet media stuff is for, is a guy like that, right? Yep. It's like this, like Jim Ladd is digital. I mean, not this, hey, we need billions of dollars and need to build this, I don't know what you want to build.
State of the art.
No, man, and half the time, I mean, a lot of these people want to do video. We're here video, but a lot of this is just radio. It's just listening. It's just the podcast. It doesn't talk to me. I'll tell you, it doesn't take a lot to do your own podcast, and that it just takes your effort. It takes your desire. The media is for you, and these great old people who have all these great rock and roll stories and all that.
Hey, you want to
get them on there, man? Get it on there.
You want to hear a great rock and roll story?
Sure.
Great rock and roll story. All right, so I'm driving a kid to school today, and up pops a song on. I was listening to The Brew, and up pops a song by Nirvana, and so I turn on my. I didn't turn on my key because and I tell him, "Hey, I got a Nirvana story for you." He's like, "Really? Oh yeah, I got a Nirvana story." And he's like, "All right," because at first he's like, you could tell that he's looking like he's messing with me. This, what's the punchline here? And no, true story. There's a guy who musician up in Washington. His name is Tony Pakula, and
why do I know that name?
And he's been, he's a standard up there. He's numerous groups, and we had him on the show. And he's such a very retiring, nonchalant sort of guy. Definitely a beta, not an alpha. He's a beta. And which is cool, though, Right. And he's talking about stories like, way back in the day, we're sitting there, and my parents are going out of town. What do young dudes do when the parents go out of town? Man, they throw a party, bro.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna throw a party in my parents' family room downstairs, because it's it's like one of those family rumpus rooms, and it's great.
I'm starting to wonder why I know this name now.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, and so
sounds familiar.
He had this party, and there's this band that he went to school with them, and they came up to him and said, "Hey, dude, we want to play your party, bro." And he's like, "Yeah, all right, cool, yeah, showing up." And so they played and stuff, and so. Slide that over. Years later, his daughter is like rummaging through his photographs, and she looks up and she looks at him, she says, "Holy beep, Dad, this is Kurt Cobain."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, well, you're next to him. You're standing right next to him." And then he says, "Yeah, my parents were out of town. I threw a party, and the band that came up to me and asked if I could play it was Nirvana. It was their very first gig ever."
Yeah,
ever. And this guy's
at the party.
This guy's party. And he said it so nonchalantly. I'm like, wait, whoa, stop. I said, you're telling me that Nirvana's very first gig ever was in your basement? Yeah, It's like, and the daughter was freaked out like I was, right? So she got a hold of a writer from Rolling Stone, and the Rolling Stone guy was, holy crap, This guy has photos, everything. Yeah. They did a huge spread in Rolling Stone about it. He was on the news a bunch about it. How his kid, the kid was like, "Man, Kurt freaking Cobain,
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, I went to school with him. Great guy, I went to school with all those guys, up in I think Aberdeen. Washington back in the day. And I was like, when he told the story, I was like, no, wait a minute. You're talking. It'd be like, hey Doc, back in the day, back in the '60s, I had this party, and this guy named Jimmy said he wanted to play at my party. So I went, oh yeah. It turns out Jimi Hendrix, or or these two guys, Eddie and Dave, said they wanted to play in this band in SoCal back in the early '70s. Like, what was the name of them? I don't know, Van something. I think Van Halen or something. Yeah. I was like, wow, Kurt Cobain. There's multiple pictures of him. They're playing and stuff. And, of course, Tony Bakula was more of the metalhead, so he had the long hair, the Motorhead.
Right.
Well, pre-Motorhead, but the T-shirt and stuff. And I just, those are the stories that I could eat up forever, right?
I think they're all over. I mean, it was like, when you're in a band like that, I mean, okay,
6 degrees of something. Well, you know someone, or you knew someone who knew a guy who knew a guy.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean Courtney Love and Cobain was down in Portland for a while? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, man, they met at this club, yada, yada. And I she was a real piece of work.
Mostly Satyricon, or?
Yeah, I think it was... Yeah, I'm gonna have to think
always
about
like,
this.
I was like, I played Satyricon before Kurt Cobain did.
Right.
Let me tell you something, kids.
And, of course, the most generic...
And people are like, the world famous Satyricon. You were there. It's like, yeah, I didn't like it so much. We were playing the Roseland. I mean, this big giant metal stage, metal band. Metal guys were more like big flames.
Sure. We need our room, dude.
Not like a little punk.
Yeah. So when my kid asked me what's Satyricon, I was like, it's a piece of crap.
Can you believe that
it's trashy, man?
Yeah, right. It wasn't like...
Remind me of CBGB's, real seedy sort of,
Well, it's kind of like, I guess you could equate Satyricon was Portland's CBGB's.
Yeah.
And famous... I mean, Nirvana. There were others. I mean, there was a lot of famous acts that rolled through there. But it's well known for Kurt and Courtney. And, the whole Northwest punk scene and all that.
Yeah.
And the reality was it was a dive. It was just like...
It was a dive bar.
It was like... I don't know.
You look back at it in fondness now because it's in a time that you can romanticize now that, it's cool. But
I think we played there. I thought one time I thought, maybe we played there once, but I think we played there a couple times. There was like an ongoing, it would be like, well, Sunday night, what do we want to do Sunday night? Maybe we should bring in some metal acts. Okay. Sure. We don't have to pay them. It'll be easy.
Right. Kid got a spot open. Don't worry about it.
Welcome to a career in music.
What do you mean? They had exposure things way back then, too?
Yeah. And the only thing I can remember is I think the singer had laryngitis. So I was like, maybe you could do a drum solo. I was like, oh, God. You're not paying me enough to do a drum solo, man. Because to me, a drum solo was Carl Palmer. You got or
Neil Peart, right?
Or even John Bonham. You got your timpani out there and your gongs and everything. And I got my little kit. And I remember we played there, and I'm just kind of, we'd been playing a lot. We'd been playing bars and all these places, and I go in there, and we're playing. It's like, okay, now we're in a punk place, which is punk place. We're not necessarily in a metal place where the metal kids come. And then it set up and we're to play. I broke my pedal, my bass drum pedal. Okay.
Come on, man.
No, it just broke.
Yeah.
The thing broke.
So you're like kicking it?
Yeah. So I have no bass drum, kick drum pedal.
Yeah.
For a metal show.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to play a drum solo. So it's like, well, this will be fun.
How are you playing a solo without the kick?
Well, it's like, hey, hope you guys like the snare drum rudiments.
Right. It's all treble. It's all treble and no bass, right?
Yeah. So.
And as Megan Trainor says, it's all about the bass.
That's right. Probably best drum solo I ever played.
This guy, but
I broke my pedal, man. That's what I remember. That's my Satyricon memory. Is that was the place my bass drum pedal broke. broke and fell apart, and I had to play the gig without. And then you gotta go. Oh, I gotta go get this repaired. How much is this gonna cost? I know. Yeah. I'll use the money all the money I made at Satyricon to buy. Oh wait, I had to buy my own beers.
Right. But you promised me tickets. Why do you said you'd give me a couple drink tickets? No, what do you mean?
God, you were like, I was like, hey, we drink
load
tickets.
In, load out.
I don't know if I was Satyricon was underage, wasn't it?
They had some of those both.
I think this was underage, and because I'm thinking I don't know that I was of legal drinking age when I played there.
Yeah,
I don't think so. This might have been 19-ish or I don't know. I wasn't. I don't know that. Yeah. That was.
But it really wasn't asked that much. It wasn't like today where hey, you need to sign whatever.
I mean, it's like.
It was fast and easy, man.
I mean, you're talking about these basement parties and stuff, and it's like it was like pretty much you'd like play the gig, go to someone's basement party, wake up the next morning in their bathtub.
Right, and I was a total geek, I asked, dude. Of course, everyone asked, what was he like? What was Kurt Cobain like? Right? Because I ran into people who kinda, But he's like, he goes, the funny thing is the image of him now, we have this image. He goes, but you know what? He goes, I'll be honest with you, man. He was a really nice guy. He was shy.
Yeah.
He was very. He goes, you see the guy on there in the Smells Like Teen Spirit music video. He's jumping around in your face and everything. He goes, that's not the way this guy was at all, man. He was just a kind of shy, retiring guy, very sensitive, but a nice guy. I'm like, it's like, and I wasn't a huge Nirvana fan when they came out. I came from the world of arena rock, and I thought, when I first heard the grunge scene, I thought it was anathema,
Yeah. I mean, this was the thing, honestly. And when you see these bands, you're like, you never thought it was going to be a thing.
No. What broke the back, though, to me, was even before Pearl Jam a little bit. I was like, when I first heard Nirvana, I'm like, it sounds like 70s garage rock, But what broke my back was Soundgarden, Cornell's voice. I said, it's more than... With that, it was like, it's more than a thing. This is going to be around. And I remember talking to a guy back then when Cornell, I was like... arena rock's done.
Yeah. Well, this was exactly anti what I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
Because what I was doing at the time was it was like the 80 kind of time there, and it was like we were it was the metal, and it was long hair, and it wasn't dirty. Yeah, it was like it was like the first time it was like. About time to wear some makeup. I was like,
2 cans
I've
of
never worn
Aquanet.
makeup in my life. Okay.
Sure.
And spandex and all that stuff.
That's
it was
what it
like
was,
kind of the
man.
arena glam. It was completely glam rock.
Big lights, big sound, glitter.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's why you wanted to do these shows where it's like if it was a big show like at the Roseland. Well, it wasn't called the Roseland at the time.
Starry Night.
But, that they had the facility to put the lights in and do the big thing and smoke machines or whatever. Yeah. And that was what you did. And it was
old copper penny.
Well, yeah, that's yes.
Back in the day before,
where you actually did get paid a little bit and got a drink ticket. Yeah, that was okay. That was like that. By then I was drinking age too. So you had all that, right? Mm-hmm. And then here come these guys, these dirty punkers. Basically dirty new. I mean, they were kind of like the
grungers wearing the flannel and
and you were just like,
I was such a dick back then, man.
Me too. I know you're like, where's this gonna go, man? You have to have a show and all that stuff. But guess what? Yeah. Ushered in the 90s, and then that's how it all works, right? That's how the whole music, pop culture, pop art works. Is it's always like you do one thing and you drive that bus into the ground, and then here comes the opposite thing.
Yeah, someone's bringing tape. There's Mother Love Bone. You're like, it's all right, but it's still kind of metalish, right?
Remember, like this band, Sweaty Nipples. You remember they were
Screaming Trees.
They did some stuff. Yeah. And now today we've talked about the metal. Portland's got a decent metal scene.
Portland has
Red thing, but
awesome.
It's nothing like what the sludge or whatever, which is kind of like take a little 90s, take a little 70s, take a little, put a little pepper, cayenne, sludge, 13 spices in your metal.
No,
it's just always something new. It's like
I think the Portland metal scene is so, and there actually are some brand new articles that are coming out. One just literally came out saying, "God bless the Portland metal scene."
Yeah,
and
for having a music scene,
right? These guys are
Portland,
fantastic metal scene. Oh my gosh, separate. Let me throw some names at you guys. If you want some really cool local music, great local metal music, and these guys are fantastic. Okay. Top 5. I'll throw it out there. Not in order, so don't get offended if you're in a band and I name you 4th. It doesn't mean you're 4th. It just means that you got it in my head 4th. Anyway, Separation of Sanity. Oh my gosh, you see those guys live. Fantastic, right? Othris. James Weaver. He is a guitar god. Okay. Not only that, a group that is just so inventive and just so great visually to see, American Overdose. Holy cow! These guys get on stage, and it's like unless you walk out of there feeling physically battered, they haven't done their job, right? And Proven is good. See, it's early morning, so I got the continual brain jam up here. But yeah, no, Separation of Sanity, Othris, Proven. American Overdose, all those guys. Go see them, because I tell you, these guys get out there and when I feel down and out about the Justin Biebers of the world and what I remember when I was a young lad, I say, oh my God, the old man music's dying, Yeah. Cue the Don McLean,
Yeah.
And then I see these young guys, they get on stage. Chronological Injustice. If not, okay, here's what I want you to do. Whenever you see a gig and you see the group Chronological Justice, even if you do not like metal, go. And the reason why I'm going to tell you, a little known secret that will not be secret, the kid is maybe 20, 21 years old. He's a young prodigy. And his name is Gunner. His dad was an old 80s rock and roll dude here in Portland, Daryl Richardson. His kid is a prodigy, and this is going to throw in some big shoes, but at least right now, he is one of the best guitar players I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
And I've listened and seen and heard a lot, and this kid is just, he's damn. He's one of those guys.
So, and these shows are cheap, which I might hit you up a bit, like if you get a little scratch, and I guess I got to go out and do something.
5 bands, $5, right?
Websites all day. Doc, you need to get out a little bit. I know there are people on my Facebook, certain people who are like, "You should go out," because I just don't. That was the whole reason I did House of Sound was I actually got to go out to a show or two. Yeah, it was like, oh, he's here. What's he doing? Sitting back in the corner. The venues, right? Yeah. You were saying that they're cheap, and what do you know off the top of your head, or it's too early in the morning?
Yeah,
where you go to these places, these mythical places to
Hawthorne Theater. The Tonic is back open again.
Okay, the Tonic is open. That's good. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that the Hawthorne Theater was back again.
I need to take you to a show.
Oh gosh!
Because Ash Street is going to be closing, right? They're closing.
Yes.
They're closing down.
Yes, Ash Street is closing.
So there's this band, the 5 bands. It's a metal show, but is literally almost 4 of the 5 bands that I mentioned.
Do we know officially that Ash Street, or did we just?
No, they're closing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, they're trying to get it
because last time you told me it was like kind of like the mics were off.
Yeah, they're trying to get us to come in and do a show before they go down.
Cool old venues in Portland are closing is news these days, folks.
Another day, another venue.
Big giant condo. Let's put one here.
Exactly right.
Screw your rock and roll.
Let me tell you something. One of the evilest names in the English language is gentrification.
Yeah.
Oh, but no.
So Ash Street
coming up in like May or June. is it's Ash Street, and there's like 4 or 5 bands, and I think it's like $6
Yeah.
for like all this. But it's Separation of Sanity. There's like 4 or 5 bands on this thing, and it's literally almost 4 or 5 bands that I mentioned when I went off on really, really good metal stuff. And I was like, holy cow, I got to go see this because these guys are all on one bill, right? And $6. I love those guys.
Before
man.
I die.
Yeah. Doc's bucket list.
I just want to do this one thing. I've never had this. I think I tried doing it once, but I just want to go to a show. So as we're kind of building our little thing here.
Yeah.
So they go, hey, Doc, Jason, hey, maybe you could you want to come and get on and introduce the band, right? Right?
That. Sure.
Right. You've done that many times.
Yeah.
So all I want to do is get up on stage and go, welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, ladies and gentlemen. Insert band name there.
Right, yeah.
Instead
there you go.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It's a really bad old reference. It's
Let
the
it
opening
ride,
of the... welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Triple album live Emerson, Lake and Palmer thing, and it's just so rock and roll. They get some probably jock in Philadelphia or something on there. It's like, hey, welcome back, my friends, ladies and gentlemen.
When you do that, the whole place is gonna go what? But the one guy in the corner is like, yes, I recognize that.
The reason I like it is because. If you remember the movie Spinal Tap, they even have a little scene because they basically when rock shows toured back in the day, there'd be the local station that was the kind of the sponsor.
KUFO.
Presents, and so they'd get one of the popular jocks on there to come out and go, hey, we got a Rock Tuesday and now, ladies and gentlemen, it was like a real old school rock and roll thing.
Yeah.
And they even parody this in Spinal Tap where they have
WKRP too.
Yeah, what is it? The guy says, straight from hell, it's Spinal Tap, and da-da-da-da. Anyway, I always say it's just a real old school rock and roll thing. I don't think they do that anymore. I think the lights go down and they play a video and
that's pretty much
tweet out the hashtags and all this crap that they do nowadays. But anyway, but it's just some geezer, It would be like what they call back in England, it's just some DJ geezer,
right?
Okay. Oh God,
where are we?
Why? Well, there's not.
Yeah.
You ever notice when we do this show, the news is just kind of, and then when we're not doing the show, the news is there's stuff.
Yeah.
And what is everyone talking about? The 100 days. Who cares?
Right.
And North Korea. The big news today was Tillerson.
Yeah.
Went to the United Nations to talk North Korea.
Yeah. And then last night Trump gave a
to Reuters
interview to
that
Reuters.
Was late, or I saw that late last night.
And he just popped out with, I could see something happen.
What? No, it was a. I was looking at this when I went to bed last night. The quote is pretty bad. Yes, exclusive. Trump says major conflict with North Korea possible, but is seeking a diplomatic thing. Well,
right.
You can do it. I mean, their point is it's a problem. We need to address this problem, and the problem's not getting any better.
No.
That's the Mr. Peacenik over here saying that. So. Go figure.
And it just feels like we're just there's a quickening, right? We're rushing headlong. It almost feels like you can see the intersection up ahead, and there's going to be a wreck. It's coming. Yeah. But you're still like, crap.
Well,
brace for impact, I guess.
Well, Bullhead haircut over there is. He did a nuclear test a while ago. It was
Kim
small,
Jong-un.
and he keeps lobbing his missiles. So
yep.
I don't know. I have no problem trashing that guy. That guy's a sick bastard. To
put it nicely, yeah, you're right.
Come on,
he is.
Come on, he's right up there with the Saddam Hussein and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's no.
Yeah, there's You will get no argument out of me. This guy is evil personified.
Very careful.
Right.
And we need the Chinese to help.
Yeah, and it looks like they're starting, the gears are starting to... I think
that's the key to the whole thing.
Look,
guys.
Yeah, they did something a couple weeks ago that did not get reported hardly at all here in America. It made huge news on BBC and around the world. North Korea's major export is coal. Okay. They loaded up one of their ships and it was going into China. China turned it around. Mm-hmm. And they said, no, we're not taking your stuff anymore. And, that, to them, that's a killer. That keeps the North Korean economy, even though it's on its knees, it keeps it from going totally under. So when people said, oh my God, these guys the Chinese actually turned the North Koreans around. And so that's when people said, oh crap, what's going to happen now? Because they're going to get desperate. This is pretty much their only source of income, and China is turning the boats around. So it's interesting.
I thought you were wrong based on what I read on Twitter. I think I should just look and send it. That North Korea's did I even? Well, no. No, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, doggone it! When you save stuff. Did I send this to you? I sent it to you, man.
Okay.
This is just the whole we're hearing the news. Yeah. This is where we do need someone to step in and clean this mess up. Let me look in my because I think I sent this to you on a Facebook message. Yes, thank you. Here it is. Okay. We'll just pull it up.
Okay.
No, North Korea, you said coal, but according to this representative Brad Sherman,
yes.
I'm not so sure it is. He is the guy on Twitter. He's a representative. Let me type him in here. Brad Sherman. Mm-hmm. I just want to pull it up so we can see it. Representative Brad Sherman, Jason, is worried North Korea could smuggle a nuke in a bale of marijuana.
Oh, I saw, the tweet where the guy says about something about doing a thing. Let's
take a look at
IQ of houseplants.
Representative, where is he from? Yeah. He's from California. He's a Democrat?
No. Tell me he's not a Democrat.
D. California, 30th District. Are you kidding me? What? Is this the right guy?
That's so disheartening.
Well, you think? Here he is. Here's Brad Sherman. I think he said this during a hearing too. It wasn't just something, hey, here's wacky Twitter. So again, let's pull this up, shall we? Mm-hmm. Let's get and I just shut it down. Hey, it's Friday. Let's try this again. Hey, live breaking news. Okay, so the deal is the news said that he said rather than worrying about a missile, Huffington Post. Okay, let's just pull up. Representative, here it is, right here. Yeah. Representative Brad Sherman worried North Korea could smuggle a nuke in a bale of marijuana. First of all, Jason, you said that one of the big exports is coal, but I did not realize that North Korea is a big exporter of marijuana. This is news to me. News to me. Just saying.
Right, no. Yeah, here it is. Because I remember that on CNN, Trump says China has turned back North Korean coal ships, lauds it as a big step.
I'm not worried about the coal. I'm worried about
the marijuana flow?
A nuke.
In marijuana.
At least one congressman seems increasingly afraid North Korea could try to send the U.S. some really bomb weed. This is according to the Huffington Post. Yeah, as North Korea continues to threaten the West with a nuclear attack, U.S. Representative Brad Sherman, Democrat from California, suggests the isolationist nation could simply smuggle in a nuke through a bale of marijuana. Sherman, God, are you kidding me? Sherman raised the issue Wednesday afternoon when the entire U.S. Senate was called to a White House briefing in North Korea. This is where they bust them over, right?
Yeah.
You got the Trump bus, the hotel buses, and come on over, let's talk North Korea, right? And here it is.
Yeah.
Classified briefing. I like how these guys tweet it. At classified briefing, VP urged members to convey the administration's level of resolve to confront North Korea. That resolve is weak, phony. Okay. Okay. So he's dissing the administration because he's Democrat.
Yeah.
Sherman said at the briefing and again in a tweet that North Korea could smuggle nuke into U.S. rather than use ICBM, could smuggle inside a bale of marijuana. And here's the tweet that I saw that I sent you. It took so long for us. Representative Brad Sherman, I raised two issues. This is his tweet.
Mm-hmm.
North Korea could smuggle nuke into U.S. rather than use ICBM. Could smuggle inside a bale of marijuana, ... And there was a second part of the tweet.
Yeah.
Which I hope was not joking or just joking. Sherman has long said that this is a viable strategy for a country trying to get a nuke on U.S. soil. Since a nuclear bomb is about the size of a person, it could be smuggled into the United States inside a bale of marijuana, he said in 2007. Yeah. What is the deal with this guy?
I don't know.
Sherman has also suggested Iran could employ the same strategy.
Yeah, boy.
Well, this lucrative Iranian and North Korean marijuana weed business, I had no idea.
We need to get on top of this.
Iran wants intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay, well, okay, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
But you get the story. So, news to me that there's this big international export from Iran. And
screw the coal. It turns out it's weed. North Korean weed.
And before you know it, you'll be telling me one of Afghanistan's biggest imports is opium.
No, not the poppy.
Oh, wait. Shh. Anyway, so that's North Korea's smuggling out marijuana. So here's how I'm trying to put this in my head. So I didn't realize he was a Democrat too. There you go. My point that Democrats are part of the military-industrial complex, just like the Republicans, especially from California. We'll have to look up his 30th district and see if there's any I don't know who's in that district.
I don't know.
And he's from California, right? That's
California, I thought it was a Republican. When I saw that, I'm like, that's got to be Republican.
So did I.
But it's not.
So I can imagine the first call. Hey, this is Joe. Oh yeah, I'm your local military-industrial complex lobbyist. Oh yeah, Joe, I met you at the party. We had some. Yeah, that's great. Hey, listen, this North Korea thing. We really need to stay on top of this, right?
Right.
Because we need to sell military equipment. We got South Korea. We need to sell. We've got Japan. We need to sell. Maybe a little Taiwan. Philippines. Whatever. We just need to sell. We got to make. Okay, that's great. Great. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
Phone rings again. Hey, this is Bill. Hey, Bill, what's up? Hey, this is Bill. You remember me? I'm your big pharma lobbyist. Oh, hey, Bill. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I met you at that party. Right. Hey, listen, this whole marijuana business thing is really harshing our mellow here because we've got a lot of patented drugs that we have to sell.
Brad Sherman, he is from the San Fernando Valley.
San Fernando?
San Fernando
Valley.
Valley.
Porn capital of California, or maybe I'm thinking San Bernardino. Anyway, so we really got to get down on the marijuana business, the CBDs, the THC, the stuff that's going on there. If you could kind of stop that, because that really cuts into our pain meds and stuff that we sell for lots of money on that healthcare plan. We don't want people buying cheap marijuana on CBDs.
No.
Oh, okay. Let me think. What can I do here, Jason? I'll put it together. I'll have a nuclear bomb smuggled in a bale of marijuana.
That reminds me of Cheech and Chong when the whole vehicle is made out of pot. And they're trying to get through the border station.
Do you remember, was it during, I want to say like the Bush administration, the Republicans were pushing that whole thing about marijuana, legalizing marijuana, and you're supporting the terrorists?
Right, yeah. Terrorism wins when you smoke weed.
No.
Not really. Not really.
Led Zeppelin.
Fast food restaurants win when you smoke weed.
That's what they need to lobby. They need like the fast food restaurants. The Colonel.
Colonel.
The Colonel. Come on here, get some gravy.
Your gravy ain't gonna taste like wallpaper paste after that.
Oh no, you're making me hungry. Get some biscuits.
Here we go. Northridge, Reseda, Canoga Park, West Hills.
Sounds kind of
Hidden Hills.
I don't know what the deal.
Tarzana, Encino.
We promised to
Studio City.
We promised to Studio City.
Yep, right outside Van Nuys in North Hollywood.
Dude, this guy's the only thing I can think of, and people were tweeting at him like, "Hey, like literally, I think the graphic that was in the article that I sent you, the next tweet was, "You are a idiot."
Right, you have the IQ of a house. Something like, I'm doing a film about public figures who have the IQ of a house plant.
Yeah.
May I use your tweet?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It was just like, but I tend to think that people in politicians and stuff are less dumb and more evil. So I was trying to put it together in my head. What is this? This is the first time I've ever heard of the possibility that we could be like smuggling, and God knows that on the West Coast with the legalized marijuana and stuff, I mean, we get it. It's locally sourced.
Yeah.
It's made in Oregon. Made in
Oregon, right? Oh.
We take pride. I mean, Washington State with they have like a whole registration and
Evergreen State.
Yeah, But anyway, I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm like, what? How does this piece together? It doesn't even seem to make sense in my mind that someone's smuggling a nuke in a bale. I didn't realize it's like a hay bale.
Right. What a wake up call. I mean, I feel like I'm asleep at the wheel now.
Well,
I mean, here they are down in Bakersfield. They're loading up bays. It could be Korean.
Man,
that ain't hay. That isn't wheat, or that isn't a hay. That's
up,
North Korean weed, man. They're trying to smuggle it in.
The North Korean missile, baby.
Mr. Beep. Do you have anything to declare before we let you into the country? Well, yeah. I got these CDs and I got some phony Western jeans, and then this bale. Don't worry about it. It's just hay, It's green.
A bale.
What do you mean it smells like skunk weed? No, it's alfalfa. Yeah, that's what it is. It's alfalfa.
Yeah, I've never even heard it referred to a bale, like we all have friends, it'd be like, oh, he's, if you need to get something, it's
he's the dude,
like a little baggie of like stuff rolled up. You're like, oh, okay, it's I got some bud.
Here, smell this.
Yeah. No, I could smell it out the door.
Bro, in my place, KGB doesn't mean Rush, and KGB means killer green bud, all right?
There you go,
bro.
So I don't know. So the only thing I could figure out is it's just you've got a couple big lobbies, and you're just smashing them. You're doing the lobby mashup, because that's all these people care about. I was going to say, insert expletive here. I have a thing that we're not going to share, but we'll do it. We'll do it next week.
Okay, excellent.
It's something I heard about. Have you heard about this? Now I'm assuming the Democrats do this. It was in relation to the Republicans, but I'm sorry.
It's universal.
If the Republicans do it, excuse me, the Dems do it too.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That was my regurgitation, my reflex when I talk about politicians.
Yes.
I'm getting real Frank Zappa. I mean, it's just like I'm done with y'all. But it was in relation to the Republicans. I can pull the thing. There's a congressman who just wrote like a book, and he's talking about the book, and it's all the insider of how it all works. Did you know, and this is the first time I knew it, and it was news to the people on the podcast, too. I was like, just those committees that you sit on, like you're a Republican, you're in the committee, right?
Yeah.
You pay them dues.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Like if you're on the oversight committee or Ways and Means or whatever?
Congratulations, Jason. You're part of the committee.
Holy cow.
Now, your dues on the committee, which go back to the party, will be, and we're talking like, so if you're like up on top of like the defense, if you're like number 2 or whatever, we're talking dues like not like $25. We're talking like upwards of in the 6 figures plus.
So this isn't like Costco dues. I mean, this is real stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
So So the story goes, what does that mean, right? Well, what are you always doing as a politician in America? Fundraising. So you need to raise funds for the dues, right?
Yeah.
So say you're a guy and you're out there on the defense committee or name a committee or the bales of marijuana committee or whatever.
House Ways and Means.
Right. You gotta get money, right?
Sure.
Now you don't go to your constituents and say, hey, I gotta pay these dues. Can you help me out here? Because, like, have you heard of this before? No. You go to your parties. You invite your lobbyists who would actually be kind of have skin in the game.
Sure.
For their
we'll give you a little honorarium.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, okay. Thank you.
I'd never heard of this before.
Me neither. I'm gonna have to check on this.
So we're gonna investigate.
Doesn't that sound dirty?
It sounds entirely corrupt.
Yeah.
Because the only people that would benefit from that, well, the party benefits.
The special interest.
And then it's the special interest, the lobbyists, because that's where you get the damn money.
Nothing's ever good for free, man.
No, it just
wow.
You know, and like I say, it was in relation to Republicans because obviously they're in charge, but I'm guessing that the Dems do this as well. Come on. If they do it, the other party does it.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's just limited to one side.
No, not something like that.
Yeah.
And apparently this is institutionalized. So I'm listening to a good political podcast. Maybe I'll talk about it later, not today. But even they were like, I've never heard of this before. And we're talking to people who are, were history and... Yeah. I mean, it's the most corrupt thing I've ever heard. Like it should be criminal.
Yeah, you would think that it would... you think that it would... people always talk about the emoluments clause, right? You would think that falls straight directly right in the middle of the emoluments clause, that you're not supposed to take... bribe is such a nasty word. Can we call it something else? But no, I mean... special interest, what have you... if that, I mean, and I have no reason to believe that is not accurate, and that is so disheartening. No wonder that sort of special interest, that sort of soft money, that sort of semi-shadiness is so
here, fact checking. I'm pulling it up right here. So I mean, this is not
ingrained.
Crap. Min Post, which Minnesota maybe. This is a new article. Congressional dues help garner good committee assignments. How surprised or bothered would you be to learn that members of Congress are expected to, in addition to constantly raising funds for their own re-election campaigns, also raise six-figure sums as dues to their party campaign committees in order to secure good committee assignments?
We are in the wrong gig, dude.
Well, this is just dirty. In Politico, House GOP cracks down on dues. This was from 2014. House Republicans, so worried that a swelling cash deficit will keep them from making big gains this November, have been cracking down on dozens of lawmakers who haven't paid dues crucial to the party's campaign accounts. That was back in 2014.
Right.
Look it up, folks. That's just dirt. I mean, and it's all just that is purely. The whole shock is, where do you get that money? Where does and someone said, well, so that means if I'm donating to this my candidate or whatever, that maybe that money's just going directly back to the party. Well, I don't even know, but that's not how it works. Those committees, like say it's the maybe the oversight for like FCC and the internet or something, right?
Sure.
Well, hey, I'm a big company that has a lot of interest in internet regulation or that sort of thing. So, how much are your dues? How much do you need? Because it's just all lobbyists.
Yeah.
That's just... I was blown away. Like, as political and as tied in...
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're not surprised.
What? How did we miss this one?
No, yeah, I feel like I've been asleep at the wheel, and it's one of those things when you hear you're not surprised by it.
Talk about outrage of the week.
But still, you're right. It's just like, wow. I mean, is it really that ingrained and systemic?
I'm sorry. Yeah, if I had any power, to change something, that would go now. Like, it's like, get up, call it in, kill it. Kill that practice, because that is direct influence of lobbyists on your representatives. Right. Good luck with that.
And then you have groups like Citizens United that's upheld. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just open doors to buy off. I mean, hell, the Koch brothers aren't. What are they about? Hell, even on the left, you say George Soros.
I mean, we're getting out of here. This guy was talking on C-SPAN, and he was talking about the lavish parties that they have in Congress and all that. I'm
gonna look this into this over the weekend.
Yeah,
and when we come back on Monday, we'll have like a little 5-minute update segment. It's like, because I am intrigued.
It might be possible it might be possible that there's a political show on Wednesday you could influence and put this on a little more in depth.
I think I will. I think we'll tackle that on Wednesday. Yeah. That'll be my meat and potatoes this Wednesday.
The soundbite of this guy talking about this expose, this guy who's in Congress, and I don't know if talking about all these things, and you're listening to him talk about it, and you're ready to throw up. You're just like, there is no government. It's just a piggy bank.
Corporatocracy.
You think things are.
I know.
Oh man.
And you say to yourself after that, you learn that it's like, geez, maybe Bernie has a reason for being such a curmudgeon sometimes when he's talking about how the money in it has just ruined democracy as we know it, right?
I'm sorry. This is why I supported him. Again, I've said this before. Yeah. I was not introduced to Bernie Sanders during the presidential campaign and primary. I knew about his career early on as a senator. I've followed him
as an independent.
Yeah,
he first came out. Wow,
Vermont.
Left the Democratic.
Yeah, I was blown away that he was running. Yeah. I was like, what? Bernie from Vermont? But I mean, I'm sorry, but this whole financial political machine, it's people say, well, socialism is bad. We can't have socialism. Well, we have capitalist socialism, folks.
Yeah.
Wow. Now we're just ending on a political note. How fun is that?
Corporatocracy.
I like to save this for your Wednesday show because and the reason I can't, I have a tough time talking politics. I'll read all the politics and stuff because I'll just get angry.
Yeah.
I just get upset, and it's like, you know how I feel. We did.
And I totally agree with you. I did some more
on-air stuff on Turning Left a while back, and I remember one time I messaged you and stuff. I'm just getting sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
Just thinking about this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying my best. I mean, during the election, it was okay because it was numbers and running and the strategy.
So inundated, and it's almost like an avalanche that falls in. And no, I agree, and I'm right there with you. For me, though, my Wednesday thing is kind of a venting where I can actually just.
Well, I mean, but you also are trying to find something
good in it, right?
Good,
the advocacy and
local, and I support that. Because that's your only hope, Obi-Wan.
Right.
I mean, but every time I look into this stuff, I get like, and it's like, it's worse than it was before.
Yeah. I'll sit there. Usually my nightly ritual is I'll watch a little on MSNBC. I'll go over to BBC. I'll check that out. Sirius Satellite Radio has this great channel where it's nothing but different world news from around the world, and I will listen to different from the Netherlands.
Oh yeah,
even Radio Havana. And
I used to tune that in on my shortwave.
Yeah,
I have recordings of that.
And so I'll try to get different takes, and because I mean, folks, what you see and hear and read in America is almost nothing compared to what is going on over. How the Europeans view it, and how Europe and Asia, how they present the news. There are so many stories that gets literally no play in America that when you look and holy crap,
right,
Why isn't this being told here in America? Even stories that originate right here in America.
Oh, yeah.
That you would think would be all over the 6 o'clock news. You don't see, and you have to why am I learning this from BBC?
Well, it's it's because of corporate media and because of interests and advertising interests, and you don't get it. I mean, the big story still this week is Fox News, and Hannity, and now they're trying to get rid of Bill Shine, who's like the running Fox News, so he might be the next head that rolls. And Hannity's already well, if you get rid of him, that's the end of the channel. But where does Hannity go on his own thing? Who knows? I mean, maybe all these guys will do the Blaze exit. Who knows? Although Hannity does a radio,
he does, a
syndicated radio thing. So
he comes from radio.
Set up.
Yeah, he comes from radio. Him and Combs came from radio.
Yeah,
the dearly departed Alan Combs.
Combs,
so I figure, all right, I still think that Fox News is golden boy. Yeah. And I see this really being launched in the fall, that they're going to formulate now in the spring and over the summer and give it the big push. Of course, in the fall is going to be Tucker Carlson. I think he's the next
he's already there.
Fox News poster boy, but I think he's going to be O'Reilly.
Yeah, he's in the slot, so he's doing the thing. They have the 5 or something. I haven't watched any of it because I just can't. I'm just too busy. I've already watched Tucker Carlson in the past, so I knew that he would slot in there and be but they got the 5, which has always been a crappy show, to be honest. It's not good.
There is one guy on Fox News, that even though I disagree with him on 90, not him, but
the other guy.
He's funny.
Mr. Eyes.
No.
Oh,
no.
Who's that guy?
This is a guy who I first came on his on the radar. He had this real late night show called Red Eye.
Oh, I think I've seen that one.
Greg Gutfeld. And he's
with about 4 different people,
like 3 or 4, but he's like a comedic sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and so even though I kind of disagree with him on almost everything, he it just, some of it is just kind of makes me chuckle.
Where a media power couple, Joe Scarborough and Mika, he insulted her on air, and she walked off. And it's like, oh, you can't say that. I mean, and they're an item. I mean, it's been reported, guys. They're both divorced. They're.
Oh yeah, in fact, it was even brought up once or twice on the show.
Doing it well. Anyway, I can't stand those two. By the way, I just cannot stand Joe Scarborough. I have not. I know you liked him. I can't stand that guy. And Mika just does her thing with him, and it's just like, lady, if you want to do something, get out. I've watched their show, and it would be like, are you kidding? People watch this crap?
Well, I used to watch Joe.
Real lightweight garbage.
I know. I used to watch Joe, and sometimes Joe was kind of, he's one of those guys that made you kind of chuckle, because he had sort of a sense of humor. But
they had a little lover's spat, though.
Well, what turned me off is after Trump won. Yeah, it's like literally, and I was like, I wonder how MSNBC, because I mean they were in shock. Oh my God! So I wonder what Scarborough, because at heart he is a Republican.
Yeah, of course.
So he got on there and he was like, everything that happened before the election didn't happen. He was almost pro-Trump, and I was like, it's why am I surprised? I shouldn't be surprised. It's all an act. And
I've been saving a nice picture of them for a promo, but I can't find it right now.
No, they're an item. They're both are divorced.
It's just so lightweight, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's just
I do not watch Morning Joe anymore. I couldn't take it.
No, but so
and
they
Brzezinski too. I mean, her father, Zbigniew Brzezinski.
Yeah.
If you want to know, like a military industrial complex Illuminati crap, listen to a Zbigniew Brzezinski talk.
Right.
Globalist RAND Corporation. If you want to get spooked out there, watch him.
So they had some kerfuffle on air.
Yes.
And she walked off, and people were saying, "Oh, maybe there's
designed."
Staged. Come on, that was my thing. I was like, no. They do this is part of their formula. because this is always, and it has been in the past. Even they'll get into fights and stuff, and it's all programmed, baby. It's not. They're going home at night. Count. Do you have another stack of bills? Yeah. Joe.
What can we do next?
They're laying in bed, roll that one up in a cigar. The typical fat cat Monopoly kind of.
Daddy Warbucks,
and that's Mika.
Right, that is Mika. But no, she is the pseudo lefty, that still's real centrist. Joe plays the part to a T of a former congressman who is a Republican, but he's palatable to MSNBC.
Real lightweight stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing that's pulling down there, I think, is our buddy Rachel Maddow, because she's got the big numbers over there.
She's getting the big numbers, yeah.
And again, I think it's just I think out of the two of them, it's like on the Fox side you got Carlson, and on the other side, on the MSNBC side, you got Rachel. And magically, they were actually, I found that, I think it was CNN, they actually had teamed them up at one point, counterpoint. And I was like, well, imagine that.
Right.
It's not analysis. It's not news. I don't know.
But you know who I like?
Getting crap.
When I watch those shows, I more than the hosts themselves, I like some of the commentators and media guys that they bring on. Like one guy I have infinite respect for, a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, Eugene Robinson. And man, when this guy comes on, he's always so damn articulate. And I watch it for that guy. That guy will get on there and he'll give you the straight poop, man. And it's like that. Who I want to listen to. This guy, he's a lefty kind of. He works for that, I believe, New York Times. But he's a Pulitzer Prize winning guy, and him and the guy from the Washington Post, Robert Costa, who is now, he's a young guy, real young guy, and he's now on the ascendancy. In fact, he now, just this last week, a couple days ago, he got awarded the TV position of Gwen Eifel's old. But see, Robert Costa, a guy you want to listen to, because he is.
I actually have heard. Yeah, I've heard. I'm fine. When you watch these shows, everyone has a political orientation. Yeah, it's Democrat, Republican, right, left, whatever. Right. That's fine. Just balance it out. Just give me where you balance that out, and it's not screaming at each other. And you know what I love. I just love this. The original news network of record is just bringing up third. Because they're just people yelling at each other.
That's what it's turned into. Yeah, it's
and
degenerated into
that doesn't work.
Political food fight.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's not, and that's the reason why Trump won. Is because so many people were just, even guys who were what they call low information voters. They were just tired. And here's a guy screaming, "I'm gonna."
Here's the thing: we can hammer Trump all the time. It's a reality, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, but the thing is I still have to read things about Hillary Clinton and how those dirty Bernie Sanders supporters, anti-feminist and stuff, and I'm like, guys, if we're still fighting this with the Clinton campaign, go home. Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Was there a certain misogyny in the campaign? Sure. The Trump side. Was that the total package, total deal? I don't think so. No. You cannot convince me that. I'm just so tired of let's take out that progressive. Is that anti-Semitic because he's a Jew? Right. It's just stop that argument. Just stop it.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
Yep.
Clinton did not come along with a good runway. And if you look at it, forget about that for a second. If you look at history in presidential campaigns, when you have the candidate that does the full 8 years in the presidency, what usually happens after that in the next election?
Sure, it's a pendulum.
Yes. It's usually, what happened after 8 years of Bush, 8 years of Obama. That's usually how it works. So just think of it that way, and it's like I read something where it was a woman a millennial woman, writing a rebuttal to a recent article by a boomer woman, feminist, who went on the Bernie Sanders misogyny and all this stuff. You supported him because you're misogynist and all this stuff. And then this millennial woman did the rebuttal, and she was like, "Excuse me, I supported the candidate I wanted to, and please don't tell me it was because that kind of thing that blew my mind in the primary, in the campaign. And besides, Hillary Clinton won the primary, so there you go. And a lot of people who supported Bernie Sanders stepped up at the end of the day.
Yeah,
for y'all.
My opinion on just real quick before we
I'm just get so like angry that we're still even talking about that.
Yeah. Well, because I think right now we're at that crossroads of at least on the Dem side, they're at that crossroads where they're trying to find themselves again, and
right. And it's all infight. That's the whole thing. It's just this infighting.
It's a family.
Guys, here's the thing: you want people to be Democrats like me? Yeah. You need to get a progressive. Sorry. When we're sitting here talking about paying dues to committees, and that money comes directly out of lobbyists, and that's where it comes from. That's the funneling, and it's an influence peddling job one. When we're talking about that, guys, you need a party that's progressive, that's gonna take care of that, or at least put up a good message.
Right. Here's my message before we walk out the door. Okay?
No, we're just like,
this is my last little blurt before we walk out the door. Actually, two things. First, folks, you have your homework now over the weekend. I want you to go to a bookstore or your library or whatever and find a book that's called Shattered. Okay. Shattered. Two journalists were actually they were given almost unlimited access inside the Hillary campaign in the heat of battle, and they are not sparing.
This book just came out.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
They are not sparing.
I heard the interview with them. I heard about this, and this book came out. And they have done. They previously, I think, did another Clinton book, which was actually very positive.
Yeah.
But they did not do. They're not like anti.
No.
They're not like, hey, Clinton Cash or whatever. No. They seem to be kind of middle of the road.
They play it down the middle, and so that's your homework: is go find Shattered, read it, or whatever. Second one is, you're absolutely right about the progressives. Democrat establishment, you guys lost. You're going to have to accept that fact, and you're going to have to ask yourselves why you lost. The lack of message hurts you. It disconnects you from millennial voters. It disconnects you from people that do not live on the coast. If you want to win another election, you have to start thinking progressively, or this is just...
What do you think is going to happen in 2018?
It's a power struggle. The people who are in the DNC that hold the power posts in the DNC don't want to admit that they're on the wrong side of history now, and it's power. They want to hold on to it. You've got this younger generation who doesn't give a crap about Hillary and or Trump or whatever for that matter. Their value system is a little different than ours, and I'm talking as a curmudgeon, okay? So if...
And did you notice how some of the mainstream really played down Bernie Sanders' events with how many people showed up?
Yeah, I mean, Bernie Sanders, he had a big turnout today. Yeah,
and so did Trump.
So did Trump. So did Trump, but Trump. While Trump is getting 5 and 10,000, Bernie is selling out the Moda Center. And this guy got no. I mean, he had a big crowd. Yeah. And then they try to explain the young people. They're just young people. They don't know any better, and they tried to force feed you Hillary. Now, again, I'm not totally against Hillary. I'm not. But is she the perfect candidate? Not even close.
Well, and
it was another thing.
It was their strategy was wrong. They were like, data. Well, our data says this and this and this. Oh, well, why don't you hit the ground and go knock on some doors in Wisconsin and whatnot?
Thank you.
Guess what?
Bill Clinton is pleading in this book. He is pleading. He's in Brooklyn, flies into Brooklyn. He is pleading with Robbie Mook and Hillary and the rest of them. You need to do this. You need to get on the ground. You need to blah, blah, blah.
That was kind of the story out of this thing, was that Bill, who successful,
he is a
knows
savvy,
how to run a campaign.
He is a kiss baby.
I'm done with him anyway.
Right.
A long time ago.
Right.
Screw that guy. But anyway, and I was a supporter of his. But yeah,
but the form of it,
he
though.
was like, here's how you run a campaign.
Right, but that's his wheelhouse, right? He's from the old school kiss babies, get down there on supermarkets, shake hands, get to the people.
So Obama
That's what
won,
Trump did.
Right? Obama won because they were doing data-driven campaign. They were doing real internet data stuff. But he was also coming in, filling up the South waterfront in Portland and all that, too. So he was, not only was he doing the data and all of that, he was getting the crowds too.
Yeah, but you ask yourself why? Well, geez, why? Well, yeah, he's energetic, he's camera friendly, he evokes images of JFK and that sort of new frontier sort of thinking, right? But it's more, it's so easy. The algorithm is so easy that it's not even an algorithm. It's just a small statement. You need a message.
Yeah.
You need a message. Sherrod Brown, who I dig, I even put this up on Facebook a couple days ago. He's a senator out of Ohio, and he's a Rust Belt guy. And he was one of the guys that during the campaign was screaming at Hillary's campaign, "You need to do this." Right. It turns out now that a lot of the progressives, even Bernie and those people, they said, get this guy as your running mate.
Yeah.
If you do it, you will win the Midwest. You will win the Rust Belt. This is the guy that's the voice like this. But people in Ohio love this guy.
Yeah.
And he's big. He's still big.
I'm sorry, Tim Kaine. That was it.
Because they tried to go for they said it was Hispanic vote. He speaks fluent Spanish. If we can get this guy, we'll sew up the Spanish.
Maybe get someone Hispanic,
maybe. But
someone from no.
But the DNC is they elected Perez, and sometimes he says the right stuff, but they have shown me still nothing that tells me that they have learned anything from this butt kicking.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Well, it's all. So
you don't think Congress is gonna?
I think Congress could if they realize. Maybe Congress may, because both those guys have to sing. All those people have to sing for the supper now.
Yeah.
And it isn't such at a national level; it's district level. And these guys, if they want a survival, it's going to be figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. But from the national, and where they're going to try to push the national message, which there is no national message.
No.
All this is anti-Trump, and anti is not going to win you election.
Well, that's the problem,
and
that's
a message.
That's what people, curmudgeons like us, keep seeing. And I'm hearing people start talk about this. It's like, okay, this is great. Resist all these things, but
what do you stand for?
What's the next? What do you do next?
Yeah. Where do you plant the flag and say, this is who I am and this is my values, this is what we stand for? Right. This is what we're going to do.
And that's what I felt, I don't know, when I...
Hey, Obama did that. That's why he won. Hope and change. He was the young guy, camera friendly. Again, like I said, evoked images of JFK and the New Frontier. He got up there and he said, yes, we can. He gave a positive message after the Bush fatigue and that, and the bailouts and stuff. He said, wow, we like this guy.
Well, I felt that during the campaign that this what you could tag on Sanders. Like it was like, education. I like a college. Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I could actually touch and feel that. But that message,
right? But the DNC power base, it was an anathema to them. They couldn't control it. They didn't understand it. Bernie was always like, I am not one of you.
When you have big influence, money, that's how it works.
And like I said, I'm not totally anti-Hillary.
You know what I'm afraid of? I'm just gonna. Now we're just like going.
We're going way.
This is what you do.
Yeah.
Get that note to myself now. When I need Jason to pop in, I'll just politics, campaigns.
Yeah. Oh, I can talk.
Anyway,
I can talk for
hours. Forget the Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I worry about is that in 4 years, it's kind of like a George W. situation.
We've already had them for 4 years. Let's not change forces midstream.
And then what happens if something's not going well in the world? And
North Korea, Iran.
We have a thing going on, and it's like, whoa, we can't change our president or what. Now, I think historically that has happened. I mean, Vietnam comes to mind, the 60s, Johnson. I just don't want to see like that sort of thing happen where things are going on in the world and we don't want to keep the status quo,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, he may not be there. And I'm not saying anything bad is going to happen. I would never advocate that.
I honestly think I feel that the guy's going to get bored and want to get his 4 years and get out. It's like,
I don't know. He loves power. He loves being the center of attention too, and he'll never get that again.
But there's things you can't do as president that you can do as a hotelier. What are they? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, entrepreneur, whatever he is. Real estate magnate. I don't know.
TV reality host. So
I'm going to throw something at you, and I know people have talked about it a lot, but it's not going away. And the stuff I'm picking up, the buzz as be picking up, is remember the name. Just remember the name. It's been on plenty of times before, but remember the space, and it's called. His name is Michael Flynn.
Yeah.
There is new stuff that popped up just last night that's got unearthed because the intelligence agencies now are starting to give out their assessments to the House and Senate Judiciary, whatever oversight. And the latest one that hit last night is not pretty.
Yeah.
That he didn't even register to be. He took money from these guys and didn't even register. What did he talk about? Well, the CIA knows, and Yates knows, and they won't let her get up. So,
that's a nice choke chain that the party can have over the
Donald.
Excuse me.
All right, let's do something positive. Let's end this on a positive
note. I was going to, there was a couple science article, and I agree with you. There was some big news in anthropology, some DNA of extinct humans found in caves. These were those years? These were those 100,000. These were those and I always have a hard time saying that Denisovians. The Denisovians. Now these are a new species of humans that we found like recently, like
hominid,
within like the 2000s ish. Yeah. Or so, kind of.
Didn't really know where to put them, what to do with them.
Well, they were found in kind of this one kind of cave. Is it in China or somewhere out there remotely, right? And they're kind of like them and the Neanderthals, and then kind of us.
Yeah.
So there's no bones. What they're finding is they got a cave, but there's no, because usually if you want to get DNA like Neanderthals or whatever, you need the bones. They're just getting the DNA out of the cave. Without the bones. So that's huge news in anthropology. Yeah. It has to do with these humans. They're answering a lot of questions as to how humans have converged with Neanderthal, us, Asia, Africa, North America, and all of that. The other piece was that another big anthropology story this week was we did find bones in California that are way older than we ever expected humans to be in California.
This isn't Encino Man, is it?
Well, I mean, I want to say this was in the 100,000 range, and it predates when we think humans were in North America, and now we're finding bones. I believe it was in California where it was like, hey, these are way older, so there were humans here way before. So I just figured we had humans in California a lot sooner than we thought, and then they moved to Portland.
Yeah.
Built condo caves.
It happens.
Anyway.
Paleolithic gentrification. Oh, man.
Well, hey, Jason, actually, hang on to that thought.
Right.
Trust me, that's you're more. This is one of the ideas behind what happened to the Neanderthals.
They're not just drawings; they're designer drawings. You know,
who are these guys?
Right. You're not finding like.
We're pushing you out. We like your place. Paleolithic gentrification, I think, is actually a real deal in human evolution.
Sure.
If I remember my anthropology, and then the big one is Cassini. This. Chip that's been out there in Saturn for like 20 years or something. It's been a long time. I didn't realize how long. It's flying through the rings of Saturn. It's getting so close to Saturn, and then they're going to fly it into Saturn, which we tend to do and gather data as we fly through it, and it we'll destroy it. So there's been pictures on NASA of close-ups of the rings of Saturn. It's as close as we've ever gotten there. So That's your good news. The bad news in space is NASA's running out of spacesuits and they don't know what to do. And the SLS rocket's going to be delayed another year. So that's the bad news. But anyway, but Cassini and people and DNA everywhere.
Paleolithic gentrification, right?
With that,
fossilized biscotti.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they're just they were down there in California and they saw the drawings of Stone Age Portlandia and they were like, "Hey, maybe we can go there now."
You're right. There's a little cave drawings of wow, that looks like a New Seasons Market.
Kind of a Flintstones feel. Well, have a good weekend. You got anything on your anything in the plans?
Yeah, big
Any
weekend.
ideas?
Tomorrow night, Saturday night, is going to be Anarchy Radio's fifth birthday bash.
I was going to ask you about that. That's tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night. It's going to be at the Wild Hair Saloon up in Oregon City. We got special call-ins from Portland Timbers. I think he's retired now. Matt Borchers. Brian Wheeler of the Blazers. We got America's Mayors coming down from Seattle, hanging out with us for a while.
I have to find out where that is. I was going to tell you after the show. It's like I'll be busy. I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be at a big family birthday party tomorrow night.
Yeah.
In Oregon City. So I might just be next door.
Right.
So maybe I'll pop into. I'll pop into. See what's going on with that.
Have some cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's gonna be big. Gonna be nice. There's gonna be some live bands playing.
So it's in Oregon City.
Up in Oregon City, literally right across the parking lot from the Bi-Mart in Oregon City.
Okay, well, I'll have to look and see where this up because I'll be in Oregon City tomorrow night too.
Go figure.
Yeah, I'll stop in.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Can I come in and go? Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, ladies and gentlemen, Anarchy Radio.
Right.
With that.
Yeah. But no, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. All right. Other than that.
That's about it.
Beatniks and Blues Sunday night. I'm gonna do this show. I'm gonna do all Muddy Waters.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh. And then, that sounds
lay down some Diane DePrima.
Nice.
Beat poetry going on.
HouseOfSound.org.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, man.
All right. Well, take care out there and stay safe, and Don't accept any bales of marijuana with nukes in it from North Korea, okay?
Radioactive.
All right.
Pot.